Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Good to see you all. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this comment. Randy's mom says hi. Whack. Right off the hop, you just hit me with that. Dude, I'm not ready for that yet. Hang on. There you go. Good to see all of you. What's going on, Packers? How you doing, buddy? Dennis here. It's EGM time indeed. Going to be a fun morning for sure. It's time to wake up. Says, hey, good morning, eh? Little crack at the Canadians there. Nothing wrong with that. Raj, thank you very much for the intro. Good morning, Mr. Matt Tracker. Ruben, good to see you. Time to wake up says, choosing between 1 and 4 are a tough decision. I believe that Tony Hawk was originally, on a Pizza Hut demo disc. Yeah, so I put as the poll this morning, choose one. Now, this is going back, I would say, early 2000s. So you can go to Pizza Hut and get the demo disc of the week. You can go to Burger King and get one of those 360 games that they used to sell, like Sneak King. You can go to Blockbuster, get a game, and get a free rental. Or you can have $20 in quarters for the local arcade. You choose, but it looks like right now, $20. Nobody wants the Blockbuster stuff. Victor Vega, what is up? What a name. I love it. It's good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. Dale's here. Good to see you, buddy. You need a new HDMI cord. Amazon is your friend, my friend. Very cheap on Amazon. Torshi, good to see you. You're here for the EGM read. I was wondering if you were going to show up for that. So wonderful to have you here all week. Really appreciate you hanging out with us. I don't know who this guy is. Josh Pepper something, sure. Who else we got here? Torshi says, have you ever done a whole EGM April Fool's video game, Urban Legends, Street Fighter 2, and Silent Hill? Yeah, you remember Shenlong. Shenlong was a great one, and they used to do that every April. We look forward to it. Before I tell the April Fool's James Bond story, I feel like it's necessary to bring on the biggest James Bond fan that I know, a good buddy of mine and fellow content creator, Mr. JP, Josh Pepper.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me, Jay. Yeah, I'm a big
Ventura.
James Bond fan.
You're the biggest, man. I don't know anyone who like loves Bond like you. Like we all like Bond, but you're like you're getting
Yeah,
all
I
the
just
cars, toys, and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just always been a big fan.
Do you remember the EGM? I don't know if you ever read this, Josh, but they used to do April Fools, and it was around the year GoldenEye came out. It would have been 97, 98. And they trolled us by having the multiplayer character select screen. They had Roger Moore, Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton, and it must have been Lazenby. It must have been. And they're like, oh, you do that. You got to beat Aztec on like ultra hard difficulty in like under 1 minute, and you can unlock. It's all just BS. But dude, we
Yeah,
tried it so many times, and I felt like such an idiot after. I'm like, wait a minute, this is
not even
impossible.
doable. Yeah,
Yeah, it's impossible. But
that's funny.
what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Not much. Early. I don't really do too many of these early time things, but why not?
Well, I do it because one, I love my coffee in the morning, and two, I can't stay up past 8 o'clock at night anymore.
There you
So,
go.
this
There
is
you go.
what we're left with. Good to see you. So you are. Let's get everyone introduced to you. You're my good buddy and best guitarist I've ever met, first and foremost.
Appreciate that. Thank
And
you.
we hooked up maybe like a year, 2 years ago. I found out that you were streaming on Twitch.
Yeah, I first started making content on YouTube actually, just like random YouTube videos, and then I started to dive into Twitch a little bit, and so I still do both.
Nice, yeah, and quite hilarious too. Your
Why,
Twitch
thanks.
intro video you used to have. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, I think I still have that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, you guys got to check him out. Follow Josh over on Twitch. He'll give you all the details at the end, and YouTube here, of course. Did you read EGM back in the day? I know you're a tad younger. I think we got a
No, I
10-year
didn't.
difference, I think.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
do
yeah.
too much reading.
Well, like you were joking around yesterday that you had to learn to read within a 24-hour period. So how did that go for you?
I'm still working on it.
Well, it can't be any worse than Will and myself. So
All
we'll
right.
get into that. What's up, P90? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Anyone has any questions for Josh? Feel free just to throw it out there. We are going to get into Jesus. What issue are we on? We are on issue whatever February 1992. I think it's issue 31. I can't believe that we've been doing this for just over a year and we're on issue 31. That's crazy. So let's take a look at the cover here. So we have, of course, Street Fighter 2, The World Warrior, the ultimate guide to winning big, which is kind of funny because I thought they said that last issue, but I guess this is the ultimate guide to winning big.
The ultimate.
There you go. There's one for you, P90. Josh, what are your thoughts on Dream Theater? Just curious since he's a guitarist.
Dream Theater is good. Very progressive. But around, I think they're on their 25th, 30th anniversary, maybe even more. Who do you got? John Petrucci and the other guy. He's quite good too. So.
Josh is a big Nirvana fan like me. That's actually how we kind of hooked up with the band we were in. Our mutual friend Joe
Yeah, and the Foo Fighters.
got Josh into that whole 90s thing. So, yeah, good times. Good times. All right, let's crack this baby open.
I'm going to try to follow along the best I can here.
Yeah, I won't go too fast. I know that your program's a bit different than mine here. So, what Retro Mags likes to do, and shout out to Retro Mags again for the file here, archiving all this history. They like to show the ads separate and then they put it together. So that's what that is. That's why there's a smaller image there. Super Castlevania 4. Josh, you Castlevania fan?
I don't hate it. I'm not like a huge fan or anything. No.
Not a huge fan. Yeah, I would say I'm a casual fan too. Up until really this year when our buddy P90 was playing Castlevania 1 and I got the urge to play it. I'm like, damn. Now I'm like addicted to all these hard games. I don't know if that's good or bad. But.
What like just for curiosity, like this goes through like a page like a page number kind of thing, no?
Yeah, we're on page 5.
Page 5. There, that will make sense for me a little bit better.
I'll just call out numbers. Yep, no problem, buddy. You could see the stream. So we're on the table of contents, which is page 8. Yeah, P90. That's your favorite band, Dream Theater, for sure, buddy.
Nice.
I don't even think I know any of their songs. I know they're a widdly wee band, though, right? Right, with the finger tapping and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying.
I think I
The
now have
guitarist
a
I
brand
like
figured
play
out.
guitar like drums, man. So they probably don't even play the guitar right anyway. Anybody get fooled by the Aries April Fools by the Easter Egg Hunter? Ooh, I'm not sure what that is. No. What's the odd header? What is that? Is that a site or is that a magazine?
Aries.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure.
We're on the table of contents, page 8, and we can see we have more Sega CD coverage here. And the big story is how to win big at Street Fighter. Now, you had to like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Contraforce. Excellent. That's a rare one. On to Terminator. Okay, we'll skip. We're into the editorial, Josh, which is page 12.
Perfect.
Insert coin, and Steve Harris, ladies and gentlemen, is once again taking over the reins for the editorial. Now we're gonna see how great Josh's reading skills are. Most likely way better than mine, but I'll start it off here, buddy, and then I'll tag you in.
Sounds good.
You ready? You're like, you didn't tell me we're gonna be doing like friggin' essays on this stream. That's what we do, man. That's what we do. Damien Starflame, good to see you. Oh yeah, we had our big 20K. We had a lot of member bombs. So yeah, congrats, buddy. That was bunch of the channel members. Yeah.
Big congrats. Jay just hit 20,000 plus subs and 1 million plus views on YouTube.
Yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, that's one stat I don't follow too much is the overall views. So I should look at that.
That's cool.
But thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Raj has a question for you. Josh, so you're a Bond enthusiast. Let's test that. What was the name of the actress who played the Bond girl in the movie Dr. No?
I think you're thinking of Andres. That's her last name? No?
Kim Basinger.
No, that's Never Say Never Again.
What? She's in that?
She's in Never Say Never Again.
Oh my God, I was just messing around.
Kim Basinger, yeah.
That's amazing. The cutthroat, you don't like Steve. He doesn't like you. So there you go. Well, it's that time of year again. The silly season being Christmas has died down. The Vegas Consumer Electronics Show is just around the corner, and it's a perfect time to gauge where we're going and where we've been. This year being, well, the New Year's 1992. Oh, man, if we could just go back to 92.
What a great year.
Dude. This year, more than any before, showed the greatest change in the electronic entertainment industry. Not only did we witness the introduction of new game machines like the Super Nintendo, but other systems like the Sega Genesis finally came into their own. Prices on several formats came down, with the NEC TurboGrafx 16 finally reaching below $100, which we know is not good. It's never good. And don't forget, well, where are we? And don't forget the leap in software production, the mini machines like the Atari Lynx, the Sega Game Gear, made in 1991. For all the truly incredible movement forward, however, the game industry has also started to experience some downscaling. The Nintendo 8-bit NES, long the staple of a gamer's diet, has been eclipsed by the more powerful 16-bitters. No matter what Nintendo says, the hobby is definitely becoming more upscale. What? I guess. Which might have some negative effects in the short term, but should balance over in the long haul. 1991 saw a number of other events occur, including the release of Nirvana's Nevermind in September. No, it doesn't say that. 1991 saw a number of other events occur that will have a significant impact on the market as a whole in 1992. Although originating from the competitor, a tip of the hat goes off to the first real television program to cover our hobby. So that would be GamePro. Shout out to GamePro. The point isn't whether it's good or bad. It's that it's a testament to all creators in the gaming public. And before I go on, I got to say that's pretty cool, man. For the infancy of publications and stuff like that for video games that EGM, even though Game Pro is their number one competitor, that they're saying, hey, that's really cool that you guys
Yeah.
have a TV show and we don't. I think that's awesome. I really do. We will see more television programming covering our favorite hobby. You betcha. And way unlikely anything you've ever seen before. Aside from the giant steps forward video games have made since the rebirth in 1985, the question we have to ask ourselves is, where are we going to ? All right, I'm going to tag Josh in here.
All right. The Winter Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas will likely be the place where the future balance of power within the video game industry will play itself out. Sega coming off of a banner year. A banner year? Do they not mean banger? Complete
Yeah.
with the holiday season that saw sellouts across the board, will enter this show for the first time on top. Although Nintendo may claim superiority, the truth of here and now is that Sega leveled their arch nemesis with a lower priced left and a Sonic right.
I don't know.
Being in the leading position will feel good to everyone at Sega, and they should enjoy it and work hard to continue their progress. Nintendo, however, cannot be counted out, or even down for that matter, if Sega does not come up with some equally stunning softs, like some hot softs, to follow up Sonic, a sequel to which will be available mid-year. Dun dun dun. They will be eclipsed by Nintendo, whose legion of third-party producers will net us Street Fighter 2, Contra 3, and a plethora of other stunning titles throughout 1992. Sure, quantity favors Sega, but within the knowledge of what Nintendo will produce in 1992, the quality factor will tip to the big ends camp, so Nintendo's camp, without further forward action from Sega.
Okay, that's awesome. Good stuff, buddy. See, you can read way better than me. Yeah, you'll get stumped at a lot of the terminology because it's like so old school. Like it's like the infancy of, they call like cinematics, like I don't even know what they call them. But anyway, you'll get stumped. It's normal. It's EGM.
Niels, I got next.
What's up, Neil? How you doing? Malcolm, I hope that's how you pronounce it. What's up, man? How you doing on Facebook? Come on over to the YouTube. The YouTubes. That's where all the cool kids are. Real, how you doing? Good morning. Legends Club in full effect. Good to see you. Where are we? We're at the end. Ultimately, the big winner will be us, the game playing enthusiasts who relish each new hardware introduction, where there's sure to be lots in 1992, and marvel at the incredible steps in game the game developers make with each new program. The 16-bit competition will necessitate better softs for both Nintendo and Sega, which, as a leading magazine to honest game reviews, will make our job all the more fun. Lastly, to respond to our growing change within the video game field, you'll see additional changes to the magazine in this and the coming months. While these alterations will make the magazine more informative and easier to read, we still would like to get your feedback as well as your recommendations for future issues. This is your magazine. Help us make it the best we can by sending in your comments. Steve Harris, publisher, editor-in-chief.
You heard the man. Send your comments right now. Type them down right below.
Yeah, do it. I'm sure Steve's watching the stream. He's got to be. Steve and Ed, I cannot find anywhere on social media, Josh. I looked for those two gentlemen. I find pictures of them everywhere, but I don't know if
there's a bass player named Steve Harris.
Oh yeah. Sure. I wonder if that's what he became. We're on page 16.
That's good to know.
Which is, I'm just saying that so it's easier for you to.
Yeah, no, that way I can actually follow.
Yeah, which is the letters to the editor. Always a fun segment that we do here.
Yeah.
Neil says, I remember 1992. A kid smashed my red BMX after I destroyed him in Street Fighter 2. I needed a new bike because I was good at the fighting game. Wow. That's rough, dude. Did you tell your mom, and did your mom go over to his house? Do you know what your son did to my son's bike? My mom would have done that for sure. Okay, Mr. JP, you can choose whatever letter you'd like. So we read the funny comments or the letter to the editor, and then we read the response. So if you look at, like, if you pick like Zelda 3, I think there's like 3 and then a
Right.
response. So choose whatever you like.
Should I start with what about this the Mega CD compatibility?
Sure.
And then is that below the Houston, Texas response to that one?
Yeah, so the Mega
Okay.
CD, so that will be Mark Kaufman, and then the
And
next
Bill?
one will be the same subject, and then the response
Right.
is kind of that italic, whatever that's called. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it's Bill that's responding to Mark, basically.
No, Bill's a
Oh,
separate letter.
okay. So
So 2
which
letters. Yeah, so if you want to do Mega CD, you can read
okay. I'll
Mark's and then
just
Bill's, and then the editor's response is on the bottom there.
on the bottom.
Yeah, so under the see the Mega CD picture.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
What's that called, guys? Italic when it's like when the text is like that? I forget what it's called.
Italices.
Is that
All
what it's
right.
called? Yeah.
No, I don't know. Mega CD compatibility. I've heard that the Japanese Mega CD-ROM will work with the US Genesis system. Yo, that would be so sweet.
Yeah.
I want to get one. So do I. But I don't want to get it home and then find out that it doesn't work. What's the story?
Who knows?
And so that was from Mark Kaufman, Los Angeles, California. I have a friend with that last name. I think it's a common last name. So am I going to continue with Bill's question here?
Yep. So read Bill, and
Okay.
then you'll read. I believe it's Steve replying to everybody. Yeah.
Okay. I have seen the Mega CD-ROM with his own eyes, advertised in several mail order ads. I think Sega now has the product that will blow away anything that the Super NES, the SNES, can ever hope to do. I want one and plan on ordering it, but will it be compatible with the US CDs when they come out? You are the ones who always get the info first. Should I buy the Japanese Mega CD? Bill Laporte, Houston, Texas.
I gotta say, you really captured Bill's like the importance of knowing this information. Like
Well,
you really captured the
is
moment
it
where
NTSC or is it PAL, right?
like he's writing it, and you could see the beads of sweat dropping down. He's like, I gotta know this answer, and it's gonna be like 3 months if they even respond and publish this. Can you imagine that, dude? Like, oh
It's
my
like I'm
god.
waiting, checking the mail every day.
Yeah, are they gonna respond? I don't know. Okay, sorry.
And then underneath the picture is the response? Or
Yeah. So
okay.
the editor says, "Sorry, guys, we haven't
Okay, yep.
responded." Yeah.
So Sega says the Japanese Mega CD-ROM will not play US CD games.
Oh.
Burr, 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 burr. Ed,
Oh.
sorry guys, we have just found out, and Sega of America has confirmed it, that only the US Genesis US Mega CD-ROM systems will play the US CD games. Well, some of the US Genesis systems, the old, is that up at the top?
Yep, it continues. Yeah.
Okay.
The old
The
Altered
old
Beast. Yeah.
Altered Beast systems, when combined with the Japanese Mega CD-ROM systems, this is a whole Transformers thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
we'll play Japanese CDs. This combination will not, I repeat, will not work with American CD games when they come out. Sega has built in a double protection system that recognizes both the software and the hardware. Save your money for the US Mega CD-ROM. For all the details, see the EGM Express in the special page 5-page Mega CD section in this issue.
Yeah, they almost never did. Actually, they never did backward or not region compatibility. That
Yeah,
wasn't a
no,
thing, right? So yeah, I don't
that
know.
became a later term, like region unlocking, right?
Yeah, and now I think like with PS5, I think you can buy Japanese games. I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, you can because I bought a few that work. I bought the Phoenix Wright collection on PS4 and it works.
Nice,
Look at this. Everyone loves you. You're a natural.
awesome.
There you go. There you go. Sewer Shark. Ah, you gotta love those digital picture games, Neil. Cutthroat says Super Nintendo rules forever. Good morning, Jet. How you doing, buddy? Welcome. And Matt is confirming. Yes, italics. Thank you. I don't know where I pulled that information out. I remember the name of that, but whatever. Zelda 3, more Zelda 3. I can't believe it. I've been combing every magazine looking for anything new on Zelda 3, and every month, nothing. That is until I saw your January issue. Awesome. I want that game even more even more than ever. By the way, how did you get the info before they published it? Print more. Says Adam Wilson from Atlanta, Georgia. Jeez. Zelda 3. Hell out of here. The new Link game looks fantastic on Super Nintendo. I didn't know it was so close to production until I read your article. That is the reason why I buy your magazine. While other magazines are getting excited about a 5-year-old Zelda 1, you are there telling us about Zelda 3. Lyle Stevens from Chapel Hill. What's NC?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, thank you. Josh, there's a lot of letters for Zelda. A Link to the Past looks like it's going to be awesome. There are the games which will put the Super Nintendo in the lead in the 16-bit race. Keep up the great Super Nintendo coverage, says John Baines from Denver, Colorado. Like, I'm not making fun of John here, but it's funny. It's literally like 2 sentences,
Yeah.
and then he folds it up, puts it in an envelope, goes to the post office. Like, I hope they print this. 2 sentences I wrote. It took me 5 seconds to write. Raj, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Okay. And the response is as follows. We are as excited about Zelda 3 as you are, and that's why we're giving it 4 more pages in this issue. You can always count on seeing only the newest games here in EGM. Right on. There you go. You're up, my friend.
So we're still on the same page, right? So Zelda 3 should
System
be one
Wars.
of the hottest SNES carts this winter.
It will be.
System Wars Part 2. Give it up, Genesis players. The SNES has it all over the punny Genesis.
Puny.
Puny.
I would have said punny too.
Yeah.
Punny sounds better.
Not only do we have all the great companies like Konami, Capcom, and Acclaim to make the new carts, but just compare the specs of the 2 systems. Where's your mode 7? Question mark. Then should we compare colors? 64 on the Genesis to the 32,000 for the SNES. There is only one system, and you'll see that in 1992. There are twice as many SNESs as Genesis. Trevor Patton, Nashville, 10 IC.
Ooh, that was good. That made me laugh.
Genesis is number 1. The Mode 7 in the SNES is a joke. Most games aren't even using it. Forget all the overhyped specs and compare games. Name your sport, and it's there for the Genesis. Action, adventure, and RPG are in the stores now. If SNES players want to talk about the future, we can only say to you, where's your CD-ROM? Mark Peters, Phoenix, Arizona. And Ed response, he says, sales figures aren't in yet, but Nintendo has already started to lower the price of the SNES. Nice marketing strategy. Also, the SNES can only display 256 colors on the screen at once. What do you think? Which system is better?
Interesting. That's great. Good morning, Mo. How you doing? Patrick, good to see you guys. Cutthroat wants to know why Zelda 3 they were so hyped. Well, there was only 2 other previous Zelda games up until then. One was, Zelda 1 and 2, and the first was the top-down view, and the second one was that side-scroller one. So I think people were really interested to see where Nintendo would take it. Plus the game, like, you got to remember the Super Nintendo graphics were killer, right? So,
and this was during the time of the console wars, right? So,
yeah, I mean, Zelda. I mean, this is really where, in my humble opinion, that Nintendo remained unchallenged. They did have a stronger system in some ways than Genesis, but you're gonna see like throughout the issues, it didn't matter because now you have Mario as established, Zelda. A couple of years, you're gonna have Pokemon, Metroid's gonna come back, and it doesn't matter anymore because no other system will have those games. And
Right.
that's what I've been saying all along. It doesn't matter what your system can do, man. You need first party IPs that are gonna sell.
Right. It's not what Nintendo don't. It's,
Yeah,
it's the fun of the games.
exactly. We're on page 18.
Okay.
We are continuing the letters. Guys, if you want to do me a favor, hit that like button,
Smash it now.
smash it so we can push this out in the algorithm. I appreciate that, guys, very much.
Share it with your friends and families, neighbors and coworkers.
What he said. Treasure Master tips. Okay. I plan to enter the Treasure Master contest. Treasure Master is a game for NES. I plan to enter the Treasure Master contest. I've just bought the cart, and it is tough. Your tips in the December issue got me through the first level. Will you continue to print tips for the other levels? These prizes are big and the best thing in a long time for the NES. Dude, what a wild time to live back then. Like there was no strategy books even. There was,
Yeah, no.
maybe Nintendo Power, right?
Nintendo Power was, and like a hotline you could call in, and
The
if you're lonely.
hotline. Yeah, no, obviously no internet. I don't think, when did we get internet? Like 95, I think.
Well, it depends where you were and what device you had. Like I was watching and reading something about like France had this like, or Europe actually, but mostly France had this like online like dating phone sort of internet thing, blog post. I don't know. It's weird.
Right. So I mean, like,
But for me, yeah, I
yeah,
didn't get the internet till 98.
yeah. And then that was, remember, like when the Y2K and all that, it was high speed versus dial up. Remember that? And it was all crazy. Like, I guess my point is, like, this guy, uh, Gerald, is depending on EGM to print maps for a game he's stuck on. Now
Wow, was that
think
92
about
or
that,
93?
guys. That's crazy. That's crazy. And not only that, it's time sensitive because I guess Treasure Master had a contest, apparently. Like, absolutely crazy. Um that's I don't even know how to say his last name. Copen Piper from
Coppler,
Coppler from Pierre. What's ND, guys?
North Dakota.
Oh, look at this guy. North Dakota.
Pierre
Good.
Gerald Coppler.
The Treasure Master contest is awesome. I want to win the fantasy game room, and I appreciate all the attention that you're giving it. Did you know your tips are a month ahead of the other mags? I've completely mastered the first 3 levels and can get through them perfectly. How about tips on the last 2 levels? Says Jason Brees from San Leonardo, California.
Correct.
Well, there you go. This is a good example of what we can do by working on a very short lead time. Others, which require 3 to 4 months between writing and publishing, can get the tips to you in a timely manner. Tips on level 4 and 5 are on page 164, ladies and gentlemen, of this very issue. We also believe that this is a phenomenal contest and have been working with American Softworks to make this the best contest ever. Check out the special contest on page 126 and 127. When you call in the contest results, just say EGM, and you're in the first 100. If you're in the first 100, say it. You'll get a free 1-year subscription to EGM.
That's pretty neat.
That is pretty cool. Very cool. Christoph Willie is not here. He's had some personal stuff this week.
P90 says he had Freenet in 95.
What's Freenet?
That was like
text.
a,
Okay.
yeah.
I remember, like, my neighbor dude, like 2 doors down, was into, like, I don't even know what they're called. I can't remember the terminology. It wasn't like web pages, but it was a message board. Do you remember message boards?
Yep.
I never knew any of that stuff. I never really had a computer until like later in the 90s, but he was into message boards and all that stuff. And I believe that would have had to run on some kind of internet. Oh, yeah, there you go. Text based internet.
Yeah. We had a computer before we had the internet, but maybe like a year or two before. So I think, like I said, we got like 97, 98.
Yeah.
And we definitely went to modem or whatever, like the non-dial up or whatever, after like half a year kind of thing.
Yeah, and I remember when the Dreamcast came out, there was the high-speed adapter that you could only get in the US. You couldn't get it in Canada.
Right.
So I was on eBay checking for it all the time, and it was always ridiculously hard to get and very expensive. But you couldn't play like Quake was one of the big games on Dreamcast. You
Okay.
couldn't play it because it was so choppy with the dial-up.
Right.
It's just a crazy time. I don't know. It's fascinating to read back even further where we are in the early 90s here, where you're just waiting for a game magazine to publish tips so you can get past these levels to enter this contest. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Anyway, you're up, buddy.
Where am I? More Sega
Yeah.
licensees?
License.
Um, yeah, I have heard that some of the long-standing Nintendo licenses are now starting to make cartridges for the Genesis. Does that mean that we will soon see Street Fighter 2, Capcom, and Castlevania Konami for the Genesis? Robert Sorensen, Cedar Park, Texas. Ed's response: You are partly right, Bob. Many of the Nintendo licenses, like Acclaim, Vic Tokai, and Koei and Data East, are going to be bringing out Genesis and we at the top here, Game Gear
Yep.
products in 1992. And rumors are circulating that even Konami is working on Gradius for the Mega CD in Japan. Capcom, either in the US or Japan, has not announced any intentions of producing a Sega game.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
Uh,
Eh, go ahead.
Lower Mega CD prices. Is that next? Is that where I'm going?
Oh yeah, that I can go. It's a new one. I'm
Okay.
just catching up on the chat here. Cutthroat says no talk about TurboGrafx 16. What you're gonna see here, I almost called you Turbo Cutthroat. What you're gonna see here, Cutthroat, is the Turbo is lowered their price. NEC is gonna pull out soon, and you're gonna see the Turbo Duo, which was the 2-in-1 that Hudson made, and that's kind of like the final hurrah of TurboGrafx was like '92. So unfortunately, we're getting to the end, but there's still good games like Bonk 3 and Air Zonk, a few to come out. I'm with you, buddy. I wish the Turbo had a better, stronger place in history, but that's where we are. What's up, Benjamin? How you doing? Okay. Lower Mega CD prices. I don't understand why we have to pay so much for CD games. Cartridges must be more expensive to manufacture because of the chip costs. However, we haven't seen any decrease in the game prices for the TurboGrafx CD-ROM. Why is this? Is NEC just trying to make a lot of money off of us? Will Sega then take the same approach and charge us more than it costs to make the disc? How dare you make money, company? How dare you make a profit? You're supposed to give the games for free. Sorry, Jeff Oster from Mesa, Arizona. The Sega's Mega CD. Oh my God, what is that game? Soul Feast?
Uh,
The Sega's Mega CD, like Soul Feast, cost as much as cartridge games. What's Soul Feast, guys? Anybody know? I don't think I've heard of that game.
I don't think I have either.
You are partially correct. While it does cost less to manufacture a CD disc, there is much more development cost to create the game program, which could be several times as large as a cartridge program. Also, with compatibility of running high quality audio, many game companies incur large costs in creating full length soundtracks. So far in Japan, the Sega CD discs are selling as much as the 8 megabyte cartridges. So there.
It's crazy. Like, if you look back, Google or Wikipedia or whatever, like they had HD at least on Laserdisc, as early as 1992 in like Japan. So they were already on HD video before we had
Yeah.
HD VHS, or I think it was called DVHS or something like that. But that wasn't until like late 90s. And yeah, we got like DVD around 96 or something like that, but it didn't go HD till later. And then even I remember having a mini disc player for music. Once
Right,
again,
right.
Japan had that in like 1992. It's crazy.
But you look at like a game like Dragon's Lair, and
Yeah,
you'll appreciate this. Dragon's Lair came out in 1983, and that ran off a Laserdisc player.
Laserdisc. Yeah,
Like that's crazy, dude. And I got my Laserdisc, man. It must have been 94, 95, because it was I had all the Kevin Smith movies. So it was like 95.
nice.
And man, that was crazy. Do you remember that place on Warrencliffe, Cinema City?
Yes, I do.
He was the dude, man. He got the lasers before friggin' Blockbuster got the VHS. So he had like when Mortal Kombat Annihilation was new, he had that on Laserdisc. I
Awesome.
remember taping that to a tape, and I'm like look, showing everybody. I'm like, look what I got. No one cared, but because it wasn't even out on VHS yet. But
Right.
I just think cinema in particular was just more valued back then. It really was.
Yeah.
Matt says, I remember connecting to AOL to try and play both their online Battletech game and the original Neverwinter Nights. Oh, man. I remember in Canada, at least, we used to get free AOL discs in the mail.
Yeah.
Never installed them, but we would get them. I don't know if it worked here, but anyway, okay, you're up.
Super Family games on SNES. Is that where I'm at?
Yes.
I've owned a Super Nintendo since they first came out on August 23rd, 1991. I've purchased almost all of the cartridges available, but when it comes to sports games, there are a lot missing. I've heard that there is an adapter which will let me play the Japanese Super Famicom, the Super Famicom games on my Super SNES, my Super NES, man, the lingo. There are a lot more great games out in Japan than here, and I just don't want to wait for the games to come out over here. Is there such a device as there is for the Genesis Mega Drive and PC Engine? Turbo Graphics? Alex Crete, Oakland, California. Man, this guy sounds like he had a lot of money and he knew that date right down. Like, I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I'm surprised he didn't fly over to Japan. Like,
There was a lot of this because a lot of the games wouldn't come here. They just wouldn't for a lot of licensing issues with Nintendo. But I mean, like a lot of the PC Engine games, that's like the Turbo Graphics here. We wouldn't get. So I guess I'm gonna let you finish here, but I guess there is
yeah,
a device, man. I didn't know
yeah.
anything about this. That's
So
crazy.
the bridge, the Super Famicom two-way adapter, Super NES. So the bridge is one of the many devices which allow Super Famicom games to be played on the SNES.
Cool.
Ed responds to Alex, saying there are many such adapters on the market. One is called the bridge, and another is the Kuma connector. That sounds like that one tournament in that one movie. Any mail order store, any mail order store can get them for you, and depending if they are made of metal or plastic, they could cost from $20 to $40. Base,
Whew,
yeah, that would have been expensive then.
it's a
But
lot.
what they do is extend the cartridge input strip from inside the SNES to above the system. Interesting.
So I think it's kind of like what remember Sonic and Knuckles? It's kind of like that
Yeah,
where
one of those. Yeah,
you would have like the North American bottom, and then you would put the Japanese card on the top. So that there'd be two imports on either side.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, the old terminologies, it's time to wake up. Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of
Should
old terminologies.
I
Sorry?
carry
Go ahead.
on with the Mega CD-ROM price?
If you like, I'm just gonna get to Matt's here. He looked up Soul Feast was first released in 1990 for the Sharp X68000. It was ported to the Sega CD as a launch title, but I think it was Japan only. Thanks for that, brother.
That's why we've never heard of
Soul Feast. I like you said Soul Feces. I saw that too.
it. um, Mega CD-ROM price. I was so excited about the CD-ROM from Sega that I called a mail order store to see if I could order one, and he said it was $4.99. I was very mad. I thought it would be 370, not to blame you all or blame you at all. I love your magazine, but you have to get your prices straight. Is there
Oh,
any is there any way I can get one cheaper? Matt Hoff, Marinette, Wisconsin, I think. Ed's response here is, you were right, there is a large difference in the prices. If you lived in Japan, you could buy a Mega CD-ROM for 370. The mail order stores here in the US have to pay shipping, customs, and so on, and that is why they charge more. Also, what if they buy 100 Japanese Mega CD-ROM drives and they then find out that they won't play the US discs, as in the case?
man, everyone's so afraid. But I mean, you're kind of running blind, right? All you have are these
Yeah,
magazines. That's all you have.
you just gotta wait. People are so impatient. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that a lot of these people, like, they read the magazine and they're like, huh, I'm gonna, like, break out my notepad and pen and whatnot,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna write a strongly worded letter to Ed. Like,
That's
it's like,
amazing.
it's not his fault. Like, he's providing, EGM. They're providing the information that they can and what they have to do with, like, crazy.
Page 22, JP.
All right,
Look at this new format, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. We have pictures. Oh my
nice.
God. Well, we have cartoon likenesses of Steve, Harris, Ed, Simrad, Martin, whatever his last name is, and Sushi X. That looks like Ed too. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool
We're
ninja.
excited. Pook Ninja, how you doing? What's going on? Soul Feast did get a North American release, but not on CD and cartridge. It was by Renovation. Oh, thanks for that, mate. It looks like a hater, yeah. So we do this, Josh. You can pick whatever reviewer you want. I think in the spirit of Willie, if you want to pick Ed, feel free. I
Yeah,
always do
I,
Steve.
I could
But
do it.
and what we're going to do is right by their avatar there, we're just going to read. This is just a little tiny summary of what they've been up to this last month. So Steve, Mr. Numero Uno Harris, thinks he's got it made now that the Mega CD is here. How about that cool full motion video? That's what I'm talking about. The wave of the future is now. Full motion
Cinematics.
video. Listen, are you tired of like airtight controls of Super Mario? Then strap yourself in and play Night Trap, where you just watch everything happen. The future is now. Sorry.
So I'm reading Ed Soon. Guy Semrad is gearing up his camera to give you the complete scoop behind the scenes at the CES. I'm excited.
There you go. That's great. Okay, so Josh is going to read Ed's reviews today. So we're starting off with Smash TV for the Super Nintendo, and we see that there is the Editor's Choice Awards, and we were correct, Will, if you're listening. The new year brings in the awards on the reviews. So here you go. They got Smash TV, got a gold award. Anyone in the chat play Smash TV? It's a classic, an absolute classic, a spiritual successor to Robotron 2084. But here we are with like a Running Man theme attached to it. So Steve gives it an 8, which I think is exceptional. This is without a doubt the best arcade to home translation I've ever played on a video game system. The graphics, sound effects, and especially the bosses are all there. Sure, there are some changes, but the overall look, feel, and control of the game is top notch. A winning effort that fans of the coin op should not miss.
Nice. Ed rates Smash TV a 9.
Ooh.
Wow. Great job, Acclaim. This is the best game you have ever done. Everything about this game says perfect. Graphics, sound, gameplay. Why don't you tell the whole SNES industry how you beat the flicker and slow down problem? While as hard as the arcade version, this still is the best production cart on the SNES yet.
Amazing. What's up, Bat Stan? How you doing, brother? Good to see you.
Howdy, Batstan.
It's time to wake up says 8 had Smash TV on the NES. It was difficult. Or you had Smash TV. Yeah. You had to use both NES controllers, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, to get the dual stick motion going. That's great. That's a must have. I think in any collection. You can even get some Midway arcade treasure collections on PS2 and Xbox from like the mid 2000s that have the arcade perfect ports of these games.
Right.
Smash TV's on them. It's just it's a killer game. Moving on to RPM Racing. Why do I not know what this is? For Super Nintendo by Interplay.
To me, it was kind of looking a little like Rock and Roll Racing, which is by
Yeah,
Interplay, but it
yeah.
also has, a little kind of reminds me of Micro Machine Racing as well, which was on NES. But
Is,
yeah,
isn't it like I want to say like Blizzard or someone made a game. Oh, Blizzard did Rock and Roll Racing. That's
yeah.
right.
So
That's right.
they took over Interplay or whatever it was, and that's Rock and Roll Racing for
That's right.
SNES. Yeah.
So this didn't get the greatest. It got above average. Steve gives it a 6. While I give the game high marks for its original execution of the racing theme, it just doesn't have the play mechanics nor the visual pizzazz needed to make it a winner. This type of game needs all-out intensity, and unfortunately, is missing from RPM racing. Even though the music kicks, the graphics just chop.
Hmm.
6. Come on, man.
Yeah, Steve gave it a yeah. It's not much better from Ed over here with a 7. Well, this racing game doesn't have all the special effects that an F-Zero has. It still does things that make it a very enjoyable kart. Racing head to head on a split screen is a blast. The competition is intense, and even though it is set for the younger player, old veteran racers can still have some fun.
It's not bad. Does anybody remember this one? I don't remember this one.
It seems familiar, but they all kind of looked like that at that time.
Uh, by the way, guys, we're going to give all Josh's stuff to you at the end, but in the description of this video, you can find the link to his YouTube page and the link to his Twitch. Give him a follow and a sub, please. Thank you very much. Torchy says, man, I wish the Internet Archive back on. I want to read these again. The link, Torchy, that reminded me also is in the description of this video. It's a site called Retro Mags. That's where we get all these files. They archive everything from EGM to GamePro to Nintendo Power. So if you ever want to read along on a Sunday, you can download as well, and it's probably a lot bigger. Page 24.
Ninja, I agree. Between the ones that I played, Rock and Roll Racing was the one.
Yep. It's time to wake up says RPM Racing was a predecessor to Rock and Roll Racing. I didn't know that. Yeah, Torshi, the again, the link's in the description of the video. You can just click on it, buddy. It's a great site. There you go. There you go. Good stuff. Okay, Mega Man 4 by Capcom for the NES. Of course, it got us a gold seal. It's Mega Man, for God's sakes.
Number 4.
8 from Steve. Yeah, I don't know about you, Josh. I don't know if you played a lot of Mega Mans.
Not a lot, no, but I have played some.
I fell off after 3. I'm not saying 4, 5, and 6 aren't good, and X and all that. I'm sure they're great, but I just kind of lost interest. I mean, it's more the same, which is fine.
How many can you play, right?
Steve gives it an 8. While you could say that this game is just another Mega Man adventure, the attention to detail that Capcom is pumping into the series just keeps getting better. There are new surprises, and the graphics have reached a new high. This title is an 8-bit safe bet that should appeal to both old and new Mega Man fans. Cheers.
Nice. All right, another 8. Mega Man just keeps on getting better and better, while each version is virtually identical to the previous. Somehow the game never gets boring. There are a few new twists, but it is still more of the same. Like the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For some reason, seeing Dr. Wily again wasn't a surprise. So this is exactly what you were just saying, Jay. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
funny.
mean, and that's fine. It's like I was kind of saying about it's kind of like maybe Castlevania is a bad example. Maybe Contra, right? Where it's like the same but a little bit different.
Right.
I'm just not a huge platforming
I
fan.
feel that with Castlevania, they changed it up enough that like people are either like hardcore 2 or 3, you know what I mean, compared to others. Where Mega Man,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like,
Torchy says play Mighty Number Nine. I have, my friend, and I have Mega Man 11. It's still sealed for whatever reason. I think I got it super cheap.
is that what they're on now? 11, or
I
they're
think
beyond that?
I think 11 is the last one. Mighty Number
Okay,
Nine was the creator of Mega Man. He left Capcom. He had a
okay.
Kickstarter for that, and it came out, and it got just destroyed in the reviews
Mm.
for whatever reason. I thought it was okay, but 2018. So are they on 11? Is that the last one? Okay, we're on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 for the NES by Konami. This is the Manhattan Project. Fantastic game. It's really good.
Mhm.
More in line with the arcade game, thankfully. I don't know if you guys in the chat or Josh are fans of the original Konami game on the NES, but I'm glad they didn't make a sequel like that because that game is hard.
Mhm.
So hard. Steve gives it an 8. This latest Turtles title does pack a punch, but there are some shortcomings. The flicker problem that plagued the second adventure turns up again in part 3. Overall, however, there's a lot to like in this game, which retains the action approach of part 2 and combines it with the adventure of the original. There you go. Amazing.
It's great. We got the exact same scores here, like across the board.
I know.
885. Anyways, who am I reading on? Ed,
You're
number
Ed,
2
yeah.
here. Yeah. Okay, so once again, an 8. Each version of the Turtles, like Mega Man, seems to get better and better until some phenomenal breakthrough comes along. The games have reached the limits of the old NES, and Flicker is a way of life. In two-player games, better and more moves, more variety, and better control help make this the best Turtles yet. Score of 8.
I never mind the flicker and slowdown. It didn't bother me.
Yeah,
That's not a big deal.
I'd maybe notice it now, but as a kid, it's just like, get me into this game, right? Like, I don't know.
Matt says the Mega Man cartoon theme is so addictive. Oh, I don't remember that one. I will agree with you on the Mega Man songs too. Like they're so good. Like Mega Man's got some of the best video game
Soundtrack.
songs ever. Um, The Empire Strikes Back by Lucasfilm.
There you go.
5 from Steve. This is on the NES as well. While the game does manage to capture the feel and what?
Continuity.
The continuity of the
Continuity.
movie.
There you go. Yeah.
We can read. Kinda. Let's start again. Take 2.
Continuity.
HGC's in the house. What's up, buddy? Okay, here we go. While the game does manage to capture the feel and continuity of the movie on which it is based, many of the setups are too complicated, too laborious for their own good. Instead of appreciating the fine graphics and general gameplay, the action gets bogged down in specific areas and doesn't even get up to speed. 5. Ooh, that's the first Star Wars game got slammed too.
Yeah.
Buddy, rough. Come
555
on.
4.
Jesus.
I have a buddy that he streams, and his father worked for Lucas Studios, something like that.
Oh, LucasArts.
LucasArts, yeah.
That's wicked.
Back in the
Wow.
90s. So he's got a bunch of, when he retired, his father, he got a bunch of like clips of every movie that he worked on. And just kind of, I guess he was like a graphics kind of animation sort of dude.
Oh, that's wicked. I
I,
mean, that would have been the best time too in the 90s to work there.
yeah, I remember he mentioned one of the movies was that Jack Frost movie.
Oh, okay. That's cool though, man.
Um, So Ed has given this game a 5 as well, right? One would expect that these games would have tons of action and fight scenes. They don't. This cart is more of a maze puzzle game. Your progress in spots is dependent on how well you can jump from block to block, and it can get repetitious
Repetitious.
until you do everything correctly. Still doesn't have the Lucas touch.
Well, we both can't read, so it's good. I feel good now. I feel good. All right, you're on our level. You're qualified for the show. Good.
There we go.
Good. 5. I mean, it's like I said with like Star Wars Outlaws. Like, how do you screw up a Star Wars video game, man? Like, how do you do it? They were doing it all the way back then, buddy. All the way back then. Look at this guy. Do we have any mods in Facebook? Get rid of this troll. Torshi says, "Man, why can't we have this kind of review format anymore? It would be better than IGN forcing a guy who hates Japanese games to give him the low score." Yeah, and I also, Torshi, I really like. They've always done the 4 points of view, which I think is really great. So like Sushi X on the bottom, I think he's the RPG/fighting game guy, I think.
Right.
But he likes different games than the other 3, right? But they're all forced to play the same games. So you get the RPG guy, the fighting game guy, the sports guy. I think it's just better when you have more opinions than just one. I agree with you on that.
Ed didn't seem to like the fact that it was kind of, I guess, like a puzzle platformer, right?
I mean, it's stupid. Like you're jumping around on a tauntaun. Like, how is that fun? Like, I remember these games. I hated them, dude. I hated them. Too bad. Too bad. All right, we're on page 26. We're going to continue with Rampart for the NES by Jalico. Ooh, 4.
Yeah.
This game sucks my lunch. What's up, Indo Nerd? Happy long weekend to you, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving. Canadian Thanksgiving. So we got a 4 here. Rampart, based on the Cult Coin Op, is a cool combination of Tetris, Missile Command, and the run-of-the-mill strategy contests. The game really heated up in the arcades when several people played in tandem. Unfortunately, what was fun to drop a few quarters, it becomes repetitive and uninteresting quite quickly. 4.
Yeah. I'm surprised it did get an 8 from somebody there. I missed
Martin.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Ed has gave Rampart a 6. Rampart is not a game for the action-oriented player, even though there is action on the screen. Rather, it is a strategy game, which each succeeding level becoming more difficult to maintain your strength and position. This is one which makes me think, but it does need more variety to keep you going. 6.
Ugh, I'm good.
I think
I'm
I
good.
tried this game, but not for very long.
Torshi says Super Star Wars Trilogy was okay, a bit repetitive. Those I like. And the Indiana Jones Adventures 2, which was the 3 films on one card. I liked those. They're hard as hell, but I did like them. But these NES ones I didn't really get into. Wizards and Warriors 3 by Rare, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I never played the third one. I wasn't a fan of this series. Steve thinks it's pretty good, pretty not bad over here. We got a 7. Although the adventure aspects of this series have been explored more thoroughly in part 3, the action is still pretty much the same. It's not a big wizard. Oh, I'm just not a big Wizards and Warriors fan. But those of you who are, you will appreciate the extra detail and graphics and animation that the latest title has picked up in its evolution.
7. Ed has rated it an 8. The Wizards series continues to get longer and harder with each new game. Those who liked the older versions may not like the RPG-ish direction that this cart is going in, but games evolve, and with very few fun quasi-RPGs around, Wizards may have just found a new niche to expand into. 8.
That's what she said. Yeah, indeed, my friend.
Yeah.
I don't have that queued up. I should. I should get it.
I left a bit of a pause there, for you to
I know. Let me see if I can find it in a timely manner. I probably can. There we go. There you go.
That's what she said.
There you go. That'll do. That'll do. That'll do. Yeah. So was it Den of Geek, I think, was saying that you were a fan of Wizards and Warriors. I think it was Den and I were having a conversation about that. Part 2, of course, the cover is, we got Fabio on the cover and that legendary Nintendo box art. But yeah. Indo Nerd says another legendary EGM cover. Them and Game Pro were unmatched, man. We'd read for hours in Cole's books and buy the issues. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even before that, there was a variety store right by the high school, and we would go there to play Violence Fight and Snow Brothers, and they would always have the EGMs there. That's where I would get them. That was like the highlight of my school day.
Some gas stations or variety stores had like amazing magazine stands, and others not so much. I remember the 7-Eleven by me had an awesome magazine stand.
Nice. Yeah, I actually went in Canada, we have a chain called Shoppers Drug Mart, which is just like a drugstore.
And some of them have miraculous magazine stands.
I went there and I was looking, Josh. I was looking for any kind of video game magazine. I found like some Minecraft magazine. That was it, though. That was it. I'm like, I'm going to buy whatever they have, but I'm not buying the Minecraft. Yeah, it's crazy, but they still have like, the guitar magazines. They still have the skate magazines.
Sometimes there's less and less of those, I've noticed. They still have car magazines, and then obviously a lot of it's directed towards female beauty products and like home renovation, that kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff, yeah. But I don't know. I like the magazine in my hand. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah.
Like I like the convenience of getting news like every single minute. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, but I do miss having the magazine. There you
go. You might want to queue up that office thing here.
Sure. Are you up or is it me? Monster in my pocket. By Konami for the NES 6. What is Monster in my pocket? I mean, don't Google it, people. Jesus.
Well, I can tell you that Pocket Monster is what the translation of Pokemon is.
Sure. This looks like just like from the little screenshot, it looks like Dracula on the bottom left. Like a portrait of Dracula or something. Maybe it's like like the Universal monsters they pull out to attack. I don't know. I don't remember Monster in my pocket. I don't remember it.
I don't recall this either.
Yeah, Matt's dad had a convenience store. That's so cool. Yins would have loved my dad's convenience store. He had an entire wall of book and magazine racks. Dude, that's so sick. I love it. I love it. I miss those days. Anyway, back to Monster in my pocket.
That's what she said.
It's not as funny the second time. That's okay. 6 from Steve. Strip away the license and the overgrown background graphics, and you've essentially got your standard Castlevania game. The action and overall challenge are not quite as intense, however, which is a disappointment for me. But younger players should have a decent time with this well-executed title. I mean, doesn't that sound like it should be higher than a 6 from that review?
Yeah, it sounds like it would have been a 7.5, maybe an 8.
Yeah. There you go.
Which Ed has gave it a 7. Konami is going after the younger audience with this game, Monster in My Pocket. Packing a unique monster not available in stores in the box is a good marketing approach.
I don't remember this, dude.
But the older player won't get too excited about it. Definitely for the beginner, and as such, it is easy enough with enough variety to keep their interest. A 7. I feel like his rating wasn't that detailed, but
why do I not remember Monster in my pocket? I don't. Monster
It
in My Pocket was
sounds
like that.
familiar, but
Soft plastic toys of monsters. It was fun collecting them. So is it like Muscles then? Oh, there you go. Pook Ninja says Muscle Men toys.
okay,
Of,
okay. I
the
remember
Muscle Men
those.
were like those pink,
Yep.
the
There's
pink
different
little
color ones
guys.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're thinking of My Pet Monster. No, that's that big one with the chains.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was okay. Okay, Cutthroat says I think
Oh.
Monster in My Pocket were like those mini toys. Okay. Indo Nerd says that's what sets your channel apart: the authentic memories and love for nostalgia. Big ups, man, to those core 1990 memories of gaming magazines. Aw, thanks. Much love, mate. Thank you for that. Okay, well, Monster in My Pocket. I mean, it's Konami. It might be worth checking out for sure. We are turned to page 28, and now we are on the Sega Genesis. Everyone at home, turn to page 28 in your notebooks, please. Wonder Boy 5 for the Genesis. You know, Wonder Boy and Alex Kidd have like this really weird history
Yep.
where no one really kind of knows what they are, but they just know that they're Sega properties. My buddy Mike was a Wonder Boy fan, and I liked Alex Kidd because I'm a hipster. But I mean, they're not really great. I'm just gonna
No.
say it. They're not really great. I just like Alex Kidd because it's like different, you know. But there you go. Okay, Wonder Boy 5. Steve gives it a 6. Most of you should be familiar with the Wonder Boy theme, which is essentially an action variant of Mario and countless other side scrollers. There's a higher emphasis placed on the battle action, and some may think it is overdone. But despite the repetitious nature of play, I was entertained through the early rounds. See, levels, not rounds.
And
That
that was a
pretty good.
6.
Yeah, pretty good.
Ed has given it a 7. The Wonder Boy series always combined the right amount of action in a quest game, making it easy enough for a beginner to get interested, yet difficult in the later levels for the more experienced player. Now, spruced up with 16-bit graphics, this version is the best in the series. Quite a challenging quest. 7 from Ed.
Look at this. Look at this smart lips here. Oh, it's funny.
Wait till we get to the next game.
Back to the Future 3.
Bam,
Wow.
bam, bam, bam.
So yeah, we were talking about if 2 and 3 were on the same cart. That was the NES one. But the Genesis got the third movie. Are you a Back to the Future fan, Josh?
Yeah, I like the movies. Yeah.
Put them in order from best to worst.
One's the best, and I think I like 3 more than I like number 2, but two's not bad either. And the reason why I like 3 was it's just different. They go back to like the Western.
The covered wagon times, yeah.
Yeah, and you got the band's ZZ Top, ZZ Top performing. They're the band with the little hoedown dance between Doc, uh, Christopher Lloyd, and his
And Ted Danson's
significant
wife,
other.
I forget her name. It's Ted Danson's wife. That's all I know.
Huh.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah.
number 1 is it's epic. It's a monumental. Like you don't even need number 2 or 3 for Back to the Future to be something. You know what I mean? Like 1 holds a special place in cinema history, if you ask me.
I'm gonna put a poll up. Back to the Future. I'm just curious.
I think by far number 1 should win that poll if you're going 1, 2, or 3. No,
Yeah,
we're going on the movies, not the games.
No, this is just the Back to the Future movie. Here's the polls up. I want to see what people say. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Appreciate that. Yeah, okay. So this is the game that I played recently. And if for anyone who's never played this, it's a hell ride. Okay. It's very much like I talked about on stream this week. It's very much like
Yeah.
Superman 64, where you can't even get into the game until you do this horse part with Doc. And I'm guessing because the screenshot, they might have not got that far either, because this is the beginning.
Very beginning, yeah.
And it's like ducking and jumping stuff, and it's so unfun. Mary Steen Bergen. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard that name. Thank you, Jet. That's her name. She's in Curb Your Enthusiasm a lot too, with Ted Danson. So there you go.
Right. I'm sad. That was one of the very few TV shows I still watched, and it's now done.
Curb is, oh man, we are on season just starting 3.
Oh,
That's as far
nice.
as I am. But I watched the Seinfeld one, whatever that is, season 7. I watched all that.
Right. Yeah, that was good.
Okay, Back to the Future 3 by Arena for the Sega Genesis. 4. Ugh. This game tries to capture the magic of the movie while delivering solid action in the end. It fails at both. Although the pace and play does match the film, the execution of the different scenes is so poor that I really found little interest in continuing my quest. Nice graphics in some levels, but much too little overall. 4.
All right.
4.
And Ed gives it even lower, a 3. This cart needs work. There isn't enough action, and the gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. The game doesn't seem to be directed at a specific age group, so I can't say it would be better for the younger players. While it does resemble the movie, and some of the graphics are very well done, it doesn't come through.
Yeah, so it's not
3.
good. I shut off my EGM by mistake here, guys. My apologies.
The like just that intro, it very much reminds me of the Sega version of Jurassic Park Rampage, which I don't think was available on the because they had
Okay, yep.
SNES and Sega had different Jurassic Park games.
Yeah, Nintendo still had that license agreement in place with its licensees where you couldn't have the same game. So that's why, Castlevania 4 is different than Castlevania Bloodline on Genesis because
Right.
you couldn't have the exact same game. I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Gignac, good morning, my friend. How's your Sunday? Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. I know it's tomorrow, but
Well, there's Thanksgiving Sunday and Thanksgiving Monday, right? So
it's like a weekend thing, right? Yeah. Still whenever you want. HGC says Back to the Future is iconic, but Back to the Future has that time travel choo choo, and my kid mind takes over. Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, that's why I personally think like in the order that I like them best is 1, 3, and then 2.
Nobody said 3 so far.
Well, it's
8.
all going to be the best is number 1, right?
Well,
Unless you
I
unless you make
guess.
the poll, what's the second best? If we all know that number 1's the best film,
That's true.
what's the second best movie? Number
Okay,
2 or
we'll
3?
make that a bit fairer because one's gonna win. That's that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Choose the second best. There you go. 2 or 3. I'm just curious. I remember 3 being on cable a lot, like Sunday afternoons. It was like
All 3 of
always
them. All 3 of them. They'd
all
play them
3. Yeah.
back to back. Like some channels, it would just be like 24/7 for the whole long holiday weekend. All 3 of the movies back to back to back, just 24/7.
Matt says we've gone from Randy's mom to Aunt Connie to Mary's steam
Steam
engine now. Oh, I missed that joke. I'm trying to run a show. I missed it. Okay, where are we on? We're on Battle Master for the Genesis.
An RPG.
By Arena, another game by Arena. Oh, this one looks not too great. Oh my god, 3s. Woo!
Yeah.
So Steve says, I guess I'm out of touch with whatever this card is trying to be. While I think it's a strategy oriented RPG, the overwhelming number of tasks that must be attended to does little more than slow down the pace of the action to a crawl. Instead of finding fun in an instead of finding fun in the interaction and play, all I discovered was boredom. Nice try, 3.
Imagine making a game and having people review it like this, and like you open up the magazine, like I wonder what they're gonna say about our game. Oh, nice try.
Well, let's take that a step further. I'm not going to hijack the stream and talk about Concord, but let's talk about Concord. Josh, you make a game for 8 years?
Right. And we've gone over this in other streams and in the chat and stuff like that.
8
The
years.
thing is, though, I think that was an overall perception from everybody who was coming in on it like that. I don't know what other magazines or companies rated this game. I'm just saying EGM gives it a 3 across the board, right? I'm
Right.
wondering if like there's some other magazine that was like, you know what, it was actually like a 6 and it wasn't too bad. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm just saying like this probably would have taken 2 years to develop this game or whatever, but Concord was like an 8-year thing.
Right.
And imagine your game finally comes out. You think it's gonna like they were comparing it to Star Wars. And then it comes out and everyone hates it.
The
Like, can
whole
you
world.
imagine? I feel so bad for those developers. I do. Anyway, go on.
Ed has rated it a 3 as well. So granted, RPGs tend to move slower, and die-hard players say it gives them time to think out the next move. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the speed adjustment, and I could just barely move along. I normally like a good challenge, but this was one of the first games that I gave up on. Well, the challenge is there. It moves too slow. 3.
3 brutal. Matt says I think Battle Master has to be the lowest rated game we've seen so far in EGM.
It's all 3s.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I would agree there. That's all 3s. That's pretty brutal. That's brutal. Okay, moving on.
I'm not familiar with that game, but
No, I don't know it either. We're on page 30, where we're going to talk about California games for the Sega Genesis. And I love California. I love games, but I never liked California games. I never did. Never was a fan of any of those. Those multi-carts with you got skateboarding, you got surfing, rollerblading or whatever.
tennis,
Get out of here.
some
Get out of here
golf.
with that crap. So it got a 5 on the Genesis from Steve. Very rarely do multi-event games. Thank you, Steve, my brother. Very rarely do multi-event games work for me. And this is a prime example. Although the individual events are entertaining, the cohesive threads that could have made this play like a real game are missing. Basically, you play each event until you get tired of it. While that may appeal to some, I like more depth in my game. Oh, sorry. Jeez.
It's got a good point there.
Yeah.
And Ed has given it a 4. This game is okay for somebody who has never played a version of this. Unfortunately, it's been around so long and no company has bothered to change or at least enhance the cart that it still looks like the ancient computer game. I would have hoped for something fresh with new ideas to some old sports. 4.
No good. And almost rated the same as Rampart is Darkwing Duck for the
Mhm.
TurboGrafx 16. This game, Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on this, and it's hilarious. This is not to be confused with the masterpiece that is the Capcom NES game, Darkwing Duck. This is made by NEC. They have no business making games. They should stick to manufacturing PCs. Anyway, 3. Here you go, Cutthroat. This is for you. Darkwing Duck brings together most of the elements that we've seen before in popular action adventures like Mario and Sonic, but instead of creating an atmosphere of intensity and building upon the options to enhance the play mechanics, Darkwing Duck puts me to sleep with a lack of interaction and challenge. 3.
Brutal.
Brutality.
Ed puts it at a 4. Perhaps the younger age group, Mike. Who's Mike?
A little typo there,
I
EGM.
see that. Yeah. Perhaps the younger age group might like this game, but it is unlikely because the player control is not precise and leads to a lot of mistakes that should have not happened. A bit more exciting action would go a long ways to make this an enjoyable cart. The concept is good. It's just that it never got off the ground.
All right, mister, you listen to me right here. I dare you to play Darkwing Duck for 30 consecutive minutes. I bet you can't do it.
And rate it higher than a 3.
I bet you can't do it. Remember, we're not rating the TurboGrafx system. We're rating the games. And it's, dude, I'm telling you, it's awful. When you don't have controls in your game, that's like the worst thing. We're moving on to Cubert by Jalico for the Game Boy. 7. By the way, are there any Darkwing Duck fans out there?
I definitely enjoyed the cartoon
It
growing
was
up.
fun. Very fun. And I will also say, Josh, that the poll is 50% split between Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3. That's what I like. That's exciting.
Interesting.
Okay, Kubert gets a 7. As a fan of the classic coin op, I was pleasantly surprised by the incredible rendering of Qbert. Instead of simply recreating the original pixel for pixel, they've added new characters and new patterns to Qbert's block worlds. There are problems with identifying characters as well as difficulty in higher levels, but it's still solid. 7, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll take that.
It's time to wait. I think you mean possibly in St. Thomas, which is I think kind of it's like the train. It used to be the train hub of like America and Canada at one point in time, like 100 years ago, and that's where stuff like Thomas the Tank Engine comes from. Anyways, Qbert, Ed has rated this a 7. Now, this is a game that is fun. Jellicoe has really got the on-screen character control down perfect. In other versions, I would find myself making jumps that I didn't want to do because of the necessary diagonal movements. In this copy, the control is perfect, allowing me to concentrate on the game. 7.
Cool.
I like Qbert.
Yeah, I was never really into it, but I would like to play the arcade version of that. That would be fun. Look at this guy. I played it before. Oh, you're trolling. Come on, man. Come on. Nobody likes that game. I'm not talking about the Capcom one, right? I'm talking about the NEC one. Okay, we're on page 32 where
HGC, it did have a catchy theme song.
Oh yeah, Darkwing Duck was great.
What
Yeah.
page?
32. We were reviewing Paperboy 2 for the Game Boy. Oh, I mean, okay. Steve gives it a 6. Any Paperboy fans out there? Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. If I had my choice between arcade games, this would not probably be in the top 100, but it's all right. Although this game is not as ambitious as the expanded Super Nintendo version, I think it works better because of its simplicity. Don't get me wrong, it's a good representation of Paperboy, but there are a few drawbacks that unfortunately can't be avoided on the small Game Boy screen. A nice game that should appeal to fans. 6.
Ed rates it a 6 as well. Paperboy is a great game for the younger player. Breaking windows and other nasty deeds are always fun things to do, as long as it's on a video game. Decent control and just a lot of fun. It's a great no-brainer cart for those days when you want to play games but don't want to think. Better than average. 6.
Barely better than average, but it's good. Ryan, how you doing, my friend? Welcome on in. The first Paperboy was good. I would agree. It was. It was different. Oh, here we go, Josh. Here you go. Here you go.
Game Gear Saga.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, we're saved.
Editor's Choice Gold.
Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear by Sega. Steve gives it an 8. First of all, who had a Game Gear in the chat? Not me. I got one later. My story is, I've told it before, really easy. When I got transferred to my second store at EB Games in a mall here called White Oaks Mall, in the very back corner of the back room was a box. Just a white box. I opened it up and there was a Game Gear for $4.99.
Nice.
So I bought it just for the collection. I don't even know if it works. Oliver, how you doing?
You
Sorry,
probably have
Josh?
to change the caps in it or whatever. Those usually burst. And
Oh yeah, okay.
once you change those out, it's probably good for like another 20 years.
Oliver says, love Darkwing Duck, the animated series in the 80s, but not in computer games. I like Darkwing Duck's opening intro, as it says the famous quote, "Let's get dangerous." Absolutely. Look at this guy's here. Ghetto. Of course, you got a Game Gear. You got everything. You got everything, brother. Okay, so Sonic on the Game Gear gets an 8. This is probably one of the best Game Gear games to date. It is very similar to the 8-bit version of Sonic, which is very similar to the 16-bit version of Sonic. But many Sonic fans may find the new dangers and overall adventures a refreshing change of pace and a welcome semi-sequel. Oh, is this before prequel was a word? Semi-sequel? What is that? To the original Genesis game. Cool. That's pretty good. Josh loves Sonic. We know this.
I love Sega. Like, it's just, Head gives it a 9. Game Gear cartridges don't come any better. Sonic for the 8-bit is every bit as much fun as it is as its big brother. The levels are challenging, and if you thought Sonic moved fast on the Genesis, wait till you see him on the Game Gear. One item of special note: listen to the Sega intro. The voice is better than most Genesis carts.
Interesting.
9. That alone, just the voice, makes it a 9.
I mean, I'm not going to harp on the whole Sonic thing. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. I don't know. Portables and Sonic don't line up for me. Not my thing. That's all right though. Puka Ninja says Paperboy was a blast at the arcade with the bike handlebar controller and the fun voices. Yes, I remember that. I always loved how you got to the good arcades with the bigger floor space.
Yeah.
Because some arcades would have afterburner, right? Stand up
Right.
afterburner, but the big spaces would have the afterburner that you sit down, right?
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you very much for the sub. Appreciate that, my friend. Glad you're joining us on a Sunday. Good to see you. Zybots for the Atari Lynx by Atari. Another stinker for the Lynx. I don't know what's going on here. 4. Whew. This is a very good version of Zybots, but I have to start this review by saying I was never really impressed by Zybots in the arcade. As far as the Lynx translation goes, the graphics are crisp, the interaction is good, and the overall scope has been captured well. But a good copy of a bad game just doesn't cut it for me, man. 4.
Ed gives it a 6. So Zybots is one of those okay type games. There's nothing spectacular about it, but on the other hand, there's nothing bad about it either. With somewhat better than average graphics, this is a good cart to buy, especially considering the other Lynx games out there. Packs good solid action for decent entertainment. A 6 for an okay game.
Not too bad. Yeah, Ryan says 6 batteries. Oh man, is that how many the Game Gear took?
Yeah. You could also plug it in though.
I got mine there. I don't even think I've opened it. What is it? It's not is it double A's? It's got to be double A's for that. I mean, that's a lot. And then you're asking your parents like every week, "Oh, I need more batteries." And then you would get like that anxiety. I used to with my Game Boy before I got the wall charger. That anxiety. It's like, well, I want to play Mario Land, but I'm only going to get to play 2 or 3 hours before my batteries die, and then I'm stressed out about asking for more batteries. And oh god, it's a mess.
Yeah, Matt. He did. They did give it an 8. That's crazy.
Sushi X is the ultimate hipster. Did you read Zybots? Sorry, you just read that?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did. Yes.
Oh, okay. We're on page 34. What we're going to do right now, guys, is we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to grab a beverage. Okay. And then Josh and I are going to continue. So for right now, let me take that off.
This is like pretty much empty. So
yeah. So I will leave you with an arcade video I made a couple weeks ago, guys, and we will be right back in a few minutes.
Stay tuned.
There we go.
The arcades, such a very, very special time in video game history. So many of us spent countless hours with our friends, making new friends, discovering new games, graphics that we could not get at home, a sense of wonder. It's time to take a trip back to the arcade and discover the games that shaped us.
Willow. The game of all games, released in 1989 by, you guessed it, the best company ever, Capcom. This arcade game was one that will always stick with me. Now, it's based on the Willow movie, of course, by George Lucas, that was directed by Ron Howard, that I think was pretty good. This was a side scroller run and gun game, very much in the vein of, old school Capcom games like Trojan, like, let me see, Ghouls and Ghosts, games like that. And I remember playing this, and this game itself was very rare. You couldn't just go into any arcade and find Willow. We had precisely 3 really cool arcades downtown. One of them was called Wizards 1, one of them was called Wizards 2, and then the other really big arcade was called Ace. Now, Ace was the one that was, kind of like the Creature Cantina in Star Wars.
He doesn't like you. I'm sorry.
It's the one your parents warned you about. You weren't really supposed to go in there by yourself. You'd open the double doors, and it was its own separate building. It wasn't in a mall. So you'd open the double doors of Ace, walk in, and it would be completely black except for the lights, of course, of the monitors. I found Willow in Wizard 2, and it was always at the very back of the arcade. I don't remember many people talking about this one. It always interested me because very early on as a gamer, I gravitated towards Capcom. I love the art style of the games, the music, the compositions of Capcom games, just the way they felt. And you guys know what I'm talking about when I talk about that Capcom feel. You get to play as the 2 main heroes. Of course, you get to play as Willow, and you also get to play Val Kilmer's character, Mad Mardigan. Now, the arcade is quite a bit different from the home release. We did get Willow for the NES, and that was a 3/4 top-down view, kind of like The Legend of Zelda. And I always wish that we got a home port of this. We never did. Astron Belt is a laser disc-based video game. It's a third-person space combat on-rail shooter released in the arcades in 1983 by Sega. In North America, it was licensed to Bally Midway. This is one of those games that was just a little bit more expensive than everything else in the arcade, and I only ever found this arcade cabinet once, and it was at my local roller skating rink, Wheels Roller Skating. You see, my mom and I would go to Wheels every Saturday, and that was the family day at the roller rink. So we would go. Met a lot of really interesting people there, including my first girlfriend. Often my mom would come looking for me, as I wouldn't be on the rink skating, but I would be in the corner where the snacks are that also house the arcades. And I remember her saying to me, Jay, you have video games at home. Why do you need to play this? And I'd say, Mom, look at this game. It's like Star Wars. And not taking anything away from the home video games of 1983, but this is what we had at home. This game was really cool because it used full motion video footage from various different sources, it looks like. The actual ship itself was graphics, and you would shoot, your ship would shoot at the screen, and if the hit was detected, the Laserdisc would switch images really quickly into an explosion screen that would give off the appearance that the ship that you had shot had been destroyed. Astron Belt will always hold a special place in my heart. All right, who remembers Ninja Gaiden? I certainly do. I played this game so much in the arcade, almost as much as I played the NES version. This game was released in 1988 by Tecmo and is a side-scroller beat-em-up that once again is quite a bit different from the NES home version. Many a quarter was spent on Ninja Gaiden, and I'm just going to say it right now. this game series being on the NES, the arcade, the 360, wherever, is still one of the hardest game franchises of all time. Back in the day, I didn't really get too far, but there was something about the way Ryu moved. It was very fluent and just different enough that it was worth a trip downtown to the arcade to play this, even if you did have the home version. Just going through the streets. All right, shut up, Bartlett. Shush, 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 shush. You guys can find that video on the channel if you want to finish it up. Welcome back, Josh. We're here. Dude, I had to pull my hair up, man. I'm sweating bullets here. Whew. Crazy town. Okay, let's get the EGM back up. Boom, boom, boom. Where are we?
34, I believe.
Yeah, we're on page 34. So what we have here is a section that they do where they're just basically showing projected release months. Like, we still don't have actual release dates yet, but they're giving us months, which was better than we got before, which was nothing. So there you go. So some games coming out, guys, in February of 1992. You can expect to see Die Hard by Activision for the NES. We got Wizardry 2, Wizards and Warriors 3. We have G.I. Joe, The Atlantis Factor by Capcom. What do we got coming up for the Super Nintendo, Josh?
We have Addams Family,
Whew.
Golden Empire, Gunforce, Joe and Mac, Lagoon, Lemmings, Nolan Ryan Baseball, Pit Fighter, Smash TV, and Wanderers from Wise 3.
See, that's what I call it too, Wise. But I guess it's pronounced Yeez. But I also say Ryu and not Ryu. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And again, look, okay, so Genesis, we got lots of stuff, right? Chuck Rock, Double Dragon, blah, blah, blah. Game Boy, doing great. Down to the Turbo. We only have Night Creatures, which I believe was a CD game. Valus 3 was also a CD game. Master System, no games this month. Ooh, geez. Neo Geo still kicking along. We have no worries about the Neo Geo because it flourished in the arcade. And then the Lynx has a couple of releases too. Good stuff. Next page, 36. We have Gaming Gossip, which, Josh, if you thought the other areas were difficult to navigate, this is the true challenge.
Yep.
Our man, Quarterman, writes down everything that comes into his mind. I'm pretty sure he does anyway. But we're going to read Quarterman. He is the gossip king, and most of what he prints actually does come true. Jam your joystick and blow your bombs.
That's where you put that. That's what
she said. Quarterman hath returned with a bucket full of gaming nasties from around the world. What's this guy doing, man? Is Quarterman okay?
I don't think so.
Dude, he's just traveling around getting into all sorts of like shenanigans and trouble. Like, what's happening here? Yeah, anyway. This is top-notch goop, my quarter friends. What? So sit back and bring your beady little eyes into focus. Let's talk to the hardware heads first. All right, I got to take a sip. What is going on? What is going on here? Especially you guys and gals who have been following the progress and lack, therefore, of the Atari Panther turned into the Atari Jaguar. Latest news from behind the closed doors of Atari has the machine christened with the new name, the Sparrow. Well, that is incorrect, as we know. That does become the Atari Jaguar. Going from Cath House, what? Or Cat House. Cath House. Nice little Bartlett. Cat House to a birdhouse, maybe. Yours truly has been told by sources in the know that the Sparrow is somehow related to the Jaguar, but whether or not it is in fact a replacement for the Jaguar is yet to be seen. Atari appears to be taking the machine in 100 different directions with multimedia uses to computers to video games. Also, The latest rumors have the Jaguar/Sparrow Super System possibly using floppy disks as the main soft deliveries. The main soft delivery system. Oh my god. Oh, I love it so much. Hooray! Copy protection heaven. I can't wait to play with a little spinning wheel and match up words before the game will boot. Nice try, Hans. Dude, that was a ride.
Yeah.
Good luck to you on the
So-
second one. Good luck.
He's got something going on in his brain.
Good luck.
Moving over to the Sega camp, where truly marauding Christmas sales have enabled the "we're close but always second" Gaming Corp to pull ahead and absolutely demolish Nintendo. Even with no Pepsi Cola tie-ins, the Quarterman gives Sega a big thumbs up for the steps they've taken to become the leaders of 16-bit, as well as introduce their own master system to the Game Gear converter.
Let's go.
These cool little items have been floating around the mail order houses for the past couple of months. Now Sega themselves will let you take the existing library of 8-bit titles and plug them into your GG. I think that's supposed to be plug.
Plug them into your Game Gear.
Yeah. Plug them into your Game Gear. The incredible new Contra 4 for the SNES is really not going to be the Contra 4 at all. That's because Contra 4 is now Contra 3. Even though with the release of Contra Force, it should be Contra 5. Anyway, the subtitle on this one is Contra 3 Alien Wars. Beware of imported force. It should be Contra 5. Anyway, the subtitle on this one is Contra 3.
Oh, you read it twice.
Sorry, Alien Wars. Beware of imported mega CDs. Those rascally folk at Sega are rumored to have a secret plan that will encode each CD disc, making machines from different countries unable to read the discs from another. Tricky, tricky Sega.
That was great.
Sorry, I did read this.
I like how you read the same line twice. That's never been done.
It helped to get more confusing because he's going from Contra 4 to 5 to 3, and that one being 4, and it just made it even more confusing.
That's great.
If you weren't confused before, you're definitely confused now.
Floppy at the cat house. The Jaguar would have been a great system, but lack of games determined its fate. Oh, you know what, Ryan? And I will also add on top of that the fact that their whole do the math slogan was not doing them any favors, because as soon as you play Jaguar games, I mean, if you play something like Atari Karts, it's not even better than Super Mario or better than Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, right? Some games look great. Alien vs. Predator was great. But yeah, I would agree. It's all about the games. Oh, God, I'm scared. I'm scared to read another one. All right, how do we pronounce this? Elzer. I'm sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing.
Elizer?
Elizer, welcome. How are you? I butcher names, not on purpose. I'm sorry.
Comrades?
Okay, we are right here. I'm on the third one. Okay, God help us. Here we go. Elizer is fine. Awesome. Welcome to the stream. In our Mega CD news, a flurry of American companies seem to be making moves to join their Japanese cousins in the support and development of softs for the new Sega Super System. Some of these names are rumored to include ICOM Simulations, Reactor, Sierra, and more. The Q-Man would have to say, would have to say that it's still early to seize on who will rise to the occasion of the new Mega platform. I don't know what they're talking about. What is the new Sega Mega platform? Would this be like early Saturn maybe they're talking about? I don't know.
Possibly.
But with some of the full screen, full motion video that the one and only has seen, I'd say the chances of some top-notch softs are great indeed. One of the bigger names, I can't say softs without laughing. One of the bigger names that rumored to be getting into the Mega CD, at least in Japan, is none other than Konami. The first entry is rumored to be Gradius, but whether or not the game makes it to the American shores is still up in the air.
Here's the rumor of the new year. Nintendo is rumored to be working on yet another Mario adventure. The specifics of this Mario title, however, are different since it will also mark the return of one of the little carpenter type dude's oldest enemies, Donkey Kong. Dun, dun, dun. A 16-bit update of the original quarter chomper, replete? Is that a word? Replete? With new scenes and better graphics, is rumored to be on the way for release sometime in 1992. Sounds like the type of game the SNES was designed to make famous. Could Sega be working on a super game module that allows the Genesis to do even more incredible things? I'll tell you first.
It's like just this wild ride. I feel like I said this before. I feel like we're reading like Hunter Thompson's like work or something. You got to start going like this and like having a beer in your hand when you're reading it. Well, you got the smoke. You just need a cigarette holder. There you go. That wraps up this thrilling installment of the Quarterman Show. I'll be waiting for MacMan's letters to reinforce my inflated ego, as well as provide you with a total behind-the-scenes scoop of the 1992 Consumer Electronics Show in the next issue. Until that time, remember that old pizza is bad for health, and I am the walrus.
Okay.
Whatever you say, Quarterman. Whatever you say, man. Radio, man. Radio. Good stuff. Good stuff. If you just want to turn one more page to 37, you'll have some great artwork to look at there, Josh.
I see it.
Look at that. Guys, we might have a contender for our new controller. This is you with your Super NES and the Asus pad? AC. How do you say that?
Well, if you look on the actual controller, I'm quite zoomed in, but it's DSC pad.
ASCII.
Well, is it an A?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah, ASC ASCII?
ASCII.
ASCII?
ASCII pad. Oh, there you go. Jet says ASCII. Yeah, okay. That's right.
Well, actually, on the right above the wire there, it says warp on it. So how's it said? The ASCII warp?
ASCII pad. I don't know about you, and I may be talking like a spoiled brat here, but if I opened this thing on Christmas morning, I would have cried. No kid wants this thing. Look at it. Can you imagine bringing this over to your buddy's house? They have like the Super Nintendo, you got Street Fighter ready to go if it had been released. Okay, so you got that. And then all of a sudden, you got, you bring this big monstrosity in, and all your friends are like, oh, cool, bro. It's not going to make you any better.
I'm pretty sure it had to have been like 95. I got a Christmas present, and it was the NES joystick.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, why did you guys get me? Like, I already have 2 controllers for my NES. I'm like mostly playing my Sega at this point in time. And, the parents, they didn't know anything about the video games. They just go to the store.
Right.
Same thing happened. I got a PS2, and they got me Driver 1.
Oh, well, it says PlayStation on it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, this controller, I call it a grandparent's controller, right? Because this would have been way cheaper than an actual Super Nintendo controller.
Right.
So, they're going to maybe spend a little bit less, maybe just so they could get you more gifts. And it says Super Nintendo on it. They don't know any different. It's okay. Jay, in your younger years, which of the 2 Super Nintendo games from Konami was frustrating for you finished back in the 90s? Contra 3 or Castlevania 4? Contra 3. 100%. Yeah, very difficult. I tried to play it not too long ago. Forget about it. HGC says the punk rock controller. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this guy's not selling it for me either. Nothing against punks, man. Just saying. We are on 40, and we have Sega adds protection circuitry to Genesis and US Mega CD. Oh, is so this that you can't play like Japanese stuff? Is that what this is?
I believe so. So that, yeah.
Sure. I mean, we could read the article, but I'm just saying that's a lot of words. I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure it has to do with the. Well, yeah, it says country. Yeah, it's exactly what you said.
What's up, Jesse? How you doing, buddy? Good morning. Good to see you. Puka Ninja says, I loved the PS1 ASCII pad. I preferred it over the what's that? The OGM, like the OG controller. Really?
Huh.
That's interesting. I liked turbo buttons if it was done first party. Like if you look at the NES Max, it was done right because Nintendo made it. So it felt solid, but these third party ones, and we talk about Mad Cats a lot, just bad, man. Just bad quality. Game Genie clone out for Genesis, page 42. NEC merges with Hudson, brings Turbo Duo to US. Get NES games on floppy disk for your IBM. Well, this is a whole lot of stuff that I don't know if this stuff ever happened. I don't remember NES games ever going onto a floppy disk unless they're talking about the Famicom.
Yeah, there was some older one, like I believe you're right with the Famicom, but I don't know about in '92 and the future. Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Interesting. Just because of the thickness, guys, we're not going to read every single article. We're going to skim through them. EGMs have gotten pretty big. We're on page 44, where we can see our favorite mascot. Hey, Game Dodgers, skate into Electronics Boutique for new lower prices. And we see Elbow, the worst drawn mascot in history of all time, right here. Right here. Shout out to EB Games. There you go. International Outlook is page 46. And these are games that are in Japan and possibly will be coming to the shores of North America. We're not too sure yet. How do we say this game? Phalanx. Right?
Phalanx?
Phallic?
Phal-
Well, no, not phallic. No. Oh, yeah, we didn't give a shout out to our buddy Thor. Let me go back. There's our buddy Thor right there. Okay. From Phallic, we go to the next page. Cosmic Stories. Dragon Ball. That doesn't sound like it will become anything. Whatever. Skip over that. Metal Jack. Just joking around, though. Has anybody played the new Dragon Ball fighting game that just came out? I heard it's pretty sick.
I haven't, but I did enjoy, I think, on the 360 Burst Limit or something like that. And on the Wii, Budokai or Budokan 2 or something like that. Both of those I enjoyed playing. I personally watched Dragon Ball as a child, like growing up in the 80s and the 90s. And then in the late 90s there, I enjoyed watching Dragon Ball Z. So those two games, at least for me, were up my alley, and I thought they were good.
Nice. I've never watched one episode, if you can believe that. I think I was just a bit older. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a little bit of a difference here, Josh, with our ages. But I remember a lot of I think you're around Will's age, and Will was really into that stuff too. But I think I just missed it. Like when Power Rangers came out, I was kind of out of that phase.
Yep.
Who would know that just a few years from there, I would be coming back and collecting toys again, but that's besides the point.
I wouldn't say that Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z is like a child's type of cartoon. Like, it's a very violent show, and it's very in-depth. Sure. I'm personally not into anime, even though this, I would say, is an anime.
Oh,
I enjoyed cartoons as a child. I don't really watch, maybe Rick and Morty now. And, I enjoyed Futurama and American Dad, right? But
American Dad, I forgot about that one. Look at your hipster picks. You don't say Simpsons, you say Futurama, and then you don't say Family Guy.
This is the classic. Family Guy as well. But I would say Dragon Ball Z is actually a pretty good show. Like I said, I don't watch anime. There's a lot of people that are into manga or whatever, all that stuff. But not that there's anything wrong with it. But I think DBZ is worth checking out.
Yeah, I really have to watch that show, but you guys tell me. I've heard it's like it started in like the late '80s. So isn't it like it's been running longer than The Simpsons? Has it not? Like, is it still going?
Well, I think it ended like there's a bunch of different I think there's like DBZ GT, so Dragon Ball
Sure,
Z GT. I
sure.
never got into that. And then the original was just Dragon Ball, which I believe this game is based off of that because we're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
back to 92 here. So, there's a bunch of I don't know. I haven't kept up to date. I have seen a few of the movies, but I give Dragon Ball the franchise a thumbs up. They're cool.
Matt says I read lots of hype about DBZ Sparkling Zero. That's the new one, right, Matt? I was I watched Charlie Moist Critical do a video on it. He's been streaming that. But I mean that's I mean I would never play it, right? Because that would be like a Transformers, someone who doesn't know anything about Transformers playing a Transformer game, right? You'd be totally lost. But I'm certainly intrigued. I mean, especially working at EB as long as I did, it was almost every year we would see a Dragon Ball game come out for PS2 and then 360. And yeah, Jesse, you would know this. Yeah, late 80s, I think. Not sure what year. But it's still going, right? So it's like, is it all one story? I know there's like Dragon Ball GT and then
They've had breaks, but it's based off of like Goku and then his son Gohan, and then they keep having kids. Like I don't know. I haven't kept up to it. I did watch Dragon Ball as a young child, and I watched Dragon Ball Z in the '90s, and then I didn't really get into anything beyond that.
but is it like one continuing story? Like it's like Star Wars, right? Where it's just like one story that keeps going?
I believe
Or
so. At least Dragon Ball
okay.
Z is like you kind of have to know the lore, so you got to watch it from episode 1 till the end of it or whatever for Dragon Ball Z at least.
Okay, so Matt says there are different iterations of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Super, and that's not all of them. Okay, very cool. HCC says Toriyama did create a bunch of memorable characters overall. Yeah,
Yeah, so the
Chrono
artist,
Trigger, buddy.
yeah, Chrono Trigger,
Yep,
it's the same artist, right?
that's awesome. Torshi says Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, if you want to include it, and Dragon Ball Super. Okay. And okay, so it's time to wake up, says Jay Bartlett. Watch DBZ abridged by Team 4-Star.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's important because I don't know. There's no way I could go back and watch DBZ because of all the cuts and stuff like that. So I would need a fan made edit to get rid of a lot of
Oh,
because
okay, okay.
there's a lot of slow time like where nothing happens. Like just filler, like 10-15 minutes of like two guys just staring at each other, charging up their powers and saying,
Well, that's kind
"I'm
of
gonna
cool,
get
though.
you."
That's kind of cool, man. That reminds me of like old school, like Infinity Gauntlet, like the old school Infinity Gauntlet comic, where the one issue would just be Surfer fighting Thanos. Like the whole issue would be just that. I love
Yeah.
that stuff, man. Danjamin says I somehow missed Dragon Ball, but it looks like something I would have liked. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. It's one continuity, but each a different series. Oh, okay. The one
Right.
continuity is the thing that I like.
Yeah.
Right. And that's been my giant problem with both DC and Marvel was the alternate multiverse universe stuff. I think is just terrible and lazy. So I like the one continuity. Excuse me. No, I didn't. I didn't gloss over your. I did not. I highlighted it, buddy. I did. I said it. I abandoned Chrono Trigger, and HGC was kind of guiding me through it. So I feel bad, man. I would have to restart it again. Restart it again.
Yeah,
for you.
50
That's for you.
episodes, an entire week, an entire year of Namek, Planet Namek. Yeah.
I mean, like if I watched one episode every day, it would still not even be close. Like I would never be able to catch up. Right? It's very daunting. Very daunting. All right. Mercs by Sega. Then we got STG. What? For the Super Famicom, Rushing Beat. These are all still international games. Rushing Beat doesn't sound familiar, but it looks like Final Fight. Mercs I played. Mercs is a good game. That came to Genesis eventually.
Yep.
Page 52, we're at Turbo Outrun, not to be mistaken with regular Outrun. This is interesting. Do you remember Final Fight Guy, Josh, for Super Nintendo?
I don't. Not too sure I ever came across that one.
So I'm guessing from technical limitations of the Super Nintendo, when Final Fight was released as a launch title, it only had Cody and Hagar in it, and it was also not 2-player. So they were missing one of the characters, Guy. And so later on, they released a whole other cartridge that you had to buy if you wanted to play the Guy character. Kind of funny, but
That's odd, yeah.
fans were upset the Guy was cut. Raj says, does anyone remember Samurai X from the 90s?
Yeah.
It was the only anime I ever followed. I don't remember that one.
I remember, but it wasn't anything I got into.
What was the one where Sam Jackson was the samurai? What was that cartoon?
Samurai Jack?
I don't know. Was it Sam Jackson? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
I think he voiced the character. There was a 360 game. I don't know. I'm lost. I don't know anything about anime. My apologies.
I don't either, to be honest.
There you go. Thank you. Afro Samurai. Yeah, I remember the game.
Samurai, yeah.
That's it. Sakura, what's up? Afro Samurai. Thank you. Torshi, appreciate it, guys. Okay, you guys are the anime experts. You're keeping us in line. We don't know lips about anime. Moving on, we are still in International Outlook. So we have a lot of pages, okay? So we do have to get back to the one issue Will and I half read, but I have a feeling that Josh and I are not going to get to the end of this because these issues are thick. We're going to skip through quite a bit here. If there's anything, Josh, I know you can't really follow along with me in real time, but we're kind of going. I'm on page 60.
Okay.
Next wave would be the next wave of games being released in the next couple of months. I'm just going to kind of go through them. If there's anything you want to talk about, I mean, feel free to skip ahead on your own, okay? But if there's anything you want to talk about, just call it out. We're going to kind of skip through. Guys in the chat, anybody, if there's any games you want to see, call it out to us and we'll go back, okay? But these issues, again...
Okay, I will say page 61, Uncharted Waters. I played that, and that is a game that I enjoyed quite a bit on the NES.
L'Empereur, that's where you were Napoleon. I remember that one. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Uncharted Waters, yeah, you're a fan of that one?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing that.
That was a strat game, but not real time, if I remember correctly.
You're right.
It's like a tactics kind of game?
Yeah, you just kind of sail in the open waters, and you got to do trades and port and build up your ship and sort of like your fleet and increase your revenue, and yeah,
just sounds like fun. It sounds like fun stuff overall.
It's just a game to get lost in for a couple hours.
Oh, El Vento, I remember that one. What do we got? Monaco GP2. I was a big fan of Super Monaco on the Genesis. Alicia Dragoon was another great game. Soul Feast, Night Creatures. Oh yeah, we got a Neo Geo insert. So again, EGM's taken a lot of the advertisement money, which is fine, but they've added a whole insert here on the Neo Geo, which is great. We don't see a lot on that system. And anyone remembers being back in the 90s, you were only a rich person if you had the Neo Geo. That was it. That was the only thing. If you had a lot of money, I should say if your parents had a lot of money, you might have been lucky enough to have a Neo Geo. I don't know one single person that had one.
If you have a Neo Geo now, you're probably rich.
I have one now, and I'm not rich.
Do you have like the big carts, like for the?
I have precisely 0 games for it, but I have the system. Yeah.
Okay.
I did have Samurai Showdown back in the day, but I traded it. I don't know why. I shouldn't have. But I do have the Neo Geo now, and I gotta say, man, it's
the home console or an actual arcade, like
the home cartridge console, like in the picture right now on page 74.
Okay.
Yep, the home one. It was great. I found it, Josh, actually at Jumbo Video in Adelaide.
No way.
In the 90s, they used to rent it out, and when they were done with it, they sold it off.
Nice.
And it was expensive, but I remember I picked it up. Still don't have any games for it though, but there you go. Yeah, it was a great system. I think it was 24-bit or something. But
The
it was,
arcades like were always good because it was an arcade that had multiple games on it, right?
yeah, you also had the 4 stack.
Yeah.
Great. And Fatal Fury, I know a lot of people dump on Fatal Fury by SNK. I mean, it is a Street Fighter clone, sure, but there's a million Street Fighter clones back in the day. Terry Bogard is still one of my absolute favorite friggin' characters in any video game. I think he's just the best with his Fatal Fury trucker's hat. Come on, man. Come on. And the memory card too. You could take this memory card and you could take it to the arcade again, dude. If you had a Neo Geo memory card and you're going into the arcades, you were James Bond. That's the only person who had one of these things. That's
People
it.
would have been blown away. They would have been
Yeah,
like,
man.
yo,
Like,
wait, what?
dude, I'm gonna bring my saved data from Magician Lord and bring it to the arcade. There you go. Sakura says Terry's the GOAT. Do you play Street Fighter 6? I'm just gonna call you Sakura. I hope that's okay. Did you pick up Terry that came out in September? Well, I wanted to do it, but I just can't put the time into Street Fighter 6 as much as I want to. It's just not in me anymore to keep up to fighting games, especially now where all the play is online. I just feel like you really got to keep on top of it if you want to be competitive. We are cruising through here. All right, we're almost to page 100. We're on 92.
Okay.
And this is the tips and tricks section, which we always skip. If you guys want to go back and check it out, please feel free. We're skipping all this stuff. So cool, though. I always remember finding like a game that I loved and like a code to get to the last level. It was always just exciting. Always exciting. Matt says Fatal Fury wasn't that bad. I just wasn't as available as Street Fighter 2. Yeah. Not all arcades had the Neo Geo stuff for sure. We got a little Game Gear insert here. Skipping a little bit. Skipping that. Clutch hitter. I just want to know, Josh, when you were growing up, what was your if you were buying video game magazines, what was your magazine of choice? Maybe even when you got older, it's fine. Like whenever.
It would have been Nintendo Power.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people say Nintendo Power for sure. Okay, we're on page 116.
Okay.
The Genesis Mega CD. I'm going to tag it off to you here if you want to read a bit about this new system. And this was one that Will and I saw at We Got Games.
Video, yeah.
And I haven't seen this particular model. I mean, this is a Japanese version, but I haven't seen the US Sega CD one since my buddy had it in high school. And it's really to me something that's a lot rarer. You see the Sega CD2 all the time.
Right.
But this first one is just awesome. All right, I'll pass it on to you.
All right. Genesis Mega CD, the first hands-on test of the US system. The long-awaited Mega CD-ROM went on sale in Japan on December 12th, 1991. Lines of players started to form hours before the Japanese game stores opened, and when they did, the entire shipment of systems sold out within the first hour. Why all the excitement? Let's tear apart the system and dive into the first batch of games to find out. EGM has been able to get from a Sega licensee a prototype US Mega CD-ROM system. We will compare not only the US and Japanese systems, but also the European and Southeast Asian Mega CD-ROM drives. Sega USA Mega CD goals.
We could skip that. Let's go to the basic system.
Is that
bottom.
At the bottom? The very
Yep.
bottom? Okay. Yep. The Mega CD-ROM has been designed to be easy to connect and easy to operate. The basic system retains the same shape as we described in the August 91 issue. The front of the system is plain with only two lights. The first is the green play light, which is illuminated when the system is playing a disc. The second is the red axis light B, which shows when the unit is getting more data. Because of the large amount of RAM, random access memory, in the system, and because it can do parallel processing with the CPU in the Genesis, both lights will be lit at the same time, meaning that there is no black screen while it gathers more data. On the left side of the unit, there is a sliding plate, and this holds the stereo audio cable, the one which plugs into the front of the Genesis, off to the side so that the CD tray does not pinch the cable when it retracts back into the unit. See, they were smart, you know.
Yeah.
The back of the CD-ROM has the plug for the AC power supply, an input jack for mixing, bringing in another audio source like the stereo sound from Genesis when you're playing a cartridge, and 2 audio output ports to send the CD-ROM audio and Genesis, if using the mixing port, to an external stereo system. You should note that all of the video and audio from the CD-ROM are internally continued on page 160.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Maybe mine's not white. I can't see that.
Continued on page 118.
Oh, 118.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Rerouted back through the Genesis that the other than the power supply. No connections are needed to be made to the CD-ROM. The Genesis plugs into the CD-ROM through the external port on the lower right side of the Genesis. After removing the external port door and the protective red plastic cap from the Genesis motherboard, a metal spacer heatsink has to be attached to the bottom of the Genesis. The plate has 2 fingers which slide into the notches on the bottom of the system. A screw locks the plate securely to the Genesis. 4 more fingers on the plate slide into the slots on top of the Mega CD-ROM. The Genesis external port board locks into the CD-ROM arm, making the vital electrical connection plug in the Mega CD. Man, you got to do a lot to like connect all these things. They make it
So that metal plate they're talking about is the most common piece missing, and
right.
if you don't have that,
Then it'll overheat.
from what it's saying, it melts. I guess,
Yeah.
right? Like you're melting the 2 systems. So that plate is often the hardest part to find on that unit.
Yep. Continue. The brains of the Mega CD-ROM.
Where are you?
Bottom left.
Yeah.
The power supply and the installation is complete. Internally, the circuitry is more complicated after removing all the metal shielding. You see that the CD-ROM drive takes up most of the space. Numerous boards are packed around the drive. With the main motherboard on the top right, right in the middle of the motherboard is the operating system chip. This chip will be reprogrammed for each of the 4 world regions. Okay. They include Japan, North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia. No Mega Cities system will be completely compatible with the Genesis Mega Drive unit from another region. In addition, the software will be encrypted with an identification code that will also prevent use with the Mega CD from a different region. This we were able to verify with our prototype US Mega CD and the new software. While the old altered Beast Genesis systems and the Japanese Mega CD-ROM will play the Japanese CDs, this combo will not play the US CDs when they come out. Bottom line, if you want to play the US CDs, don't buy the Japanese Mega CD-ROM system.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the golden rule for back in the day. Everyone was always expecting to get a system that could do both, but that was never the case. Good read, buddy. Good read. Show everybody here. I don't have this. This is one that's on my bucket list, but as you saw, I think it was $4.99 Canadian at that store. Way out of my price range for something like that. I'll show you guys the Genesis 2 with the 32X, and it looks like a G.I. Joe base altogether. So
Nice.
that's what that looks like there. So you have the 32X,
Yeah.
32X attachment here, the Genesis 2, and then the Sega CD
drive.
number 2. I mean, it looks cooler, maybe. It looks more like a toy. But there's something about that first Genesis, or it's the first Sega CD I love, and I think it's because it looks like a CD player, really.
Yeah.
but it's way harder to find. This one's pretty easy to find for
Yeah.
sure.
They're quite common.
There's another page. We're gonna skip over that. I'm gonna ask everybody in the chat, like the Sega CD when it came out. Like I said, my mate got one of my best buddies, and I never wanted it, which was really strange because I tried to get most systems if I could. But I'm gonna ask you guys, what was the flagship game on the Sega CD? And there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just wondering, like, what was the game that drew everybody to the Sega CD? I can think of Kojima's Snatcher as one of them. Other than that, I mean, there was a Sonic game. Sonic CD was pretty good. But what were the other games? And I can't really think of any off the top of my head. This is probably why I never got one. I mean, Night Trap was controversial, sure. RoboCop vs. Terminator, really? Okay.
I remember
Matt
there
says-
being a Jurassic Park for Sega CD.
Okay. Sonic CD, from what I remember. Jet says I can get a broken one for 115. The first one, you mean? See, you know what? I think, like, honestly, if I found one that was broken, I would buy it just to have the system, as long as the actual system was intact. I bet you, like, a lot of these ones, like, I bet you my 3DO probably doesn't play anymore. Do you know what I mean? But I just like collecting the actual
Physical hardware.
Yeah. Cutthroat says, I'm not sure. Was there one like Top Gun where you fly an F-14? There was, yeah. And I think it was called Tomcat Alley, actually. Nice. You jogged my memory there. My friend has a voice like a politician on TV. Nice. I guess, yeah. Model 1.
I don't know if you're talking about me.
Oh, my friend. You mean Josh?
I don't know if he meant me.
I thought Christoph's over. He's over in Poland. He found us a few months ago. He's awesome to have in chat. You're talking about Josh. Yes, Josh has a great voice, great speaking voice. Yeah, for sure.
The model one? Oh, a second.
I'm just a dummy. Oh, here's your. We're on page 128. Here's your Treasure Master contest that they were talking about at the beginning of the issue here. There you go. What can you win?
Well, you get a year subscription of EGM, right?
Yeah, but what is the big? Oh, that's it. That's the. I thought you got like a treasure, like $1 million or something. Bonus prize is 1 year subscription. I don't know. I can't tell. It's time to wake up. Says Corpse Killer or Sewer Shark. Flagship games, really? I remember Corpse Killer. Here's an obscure one. Corpse Killer has the actor who played Jean Paul in Seinfeld. So there you go. That's all I know about Corpse Killer. It's one of those, digital picture games. Leading Edge, we're on page 132. So EGM is getting more into the arcade games, which is great.
Nice.
Which is great. So we can see here Captain America and the Avengers by Data East. That was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of the height of when the Infinity Gauntlet story was going on and all that great stuff. Fatal Fury. Oh, you're kidding. I thought you were serious. I wasn't going to say anything in case I offended you. You're serious. I'm like, well, Sewer Shark sucks, but yeah, Corpse Killer is all right. That's funny, man. You always get me. Page 136. Here we have more tips and tricks for the mighty Street Fighter II, the World Warrior. You must have played Street Fighter, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Gosh, yeah. Who was your character?
Well, we talked about this in the chat a couple of weeks ago, I believe, but I liked Blanca.
Blanca, yeah. Great character. Spotlight on the bosses. Vega for the win. Come on, guys. Come on. Vega for the win. Win a Street Fighter 2 arcade game. Now, chat, can you imagine being like, the age that we were in 1992 and you actually won an arcade machine? Oh, my God. That would have been like the best. We got to do a Street Fighter poll here.
Back then, it was like you didn't even know if you could actually like own an arcade. You know what I mean? For like home use, it was something like you'd see like in a movie of like, you know, Richie Rich, like Macaulay Culkin. You know?
Well, there was that show, that sitcom Silver Spoons, really old sitcom, and that was I can't remember his name. Rick Schroeder was the kid in it, and he had like arcade games in his house, but he was like super rich, right?
Right. I remember one of my friends had a pinball machine in their basement, and I was just like blown away. I was like, "What? You guys have a pinball machine? Like, that's crazy." Sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I never had an arcade machine until like 2014, and I've told you guys this story. I found a Choplifter by Sega. It was like $200, and I got it just for the sake of having an arcade game. Like, it's not a great game or anything, but when the arcade 1-ups started coming out, and I was working at EB, so I could get them in for cheaper, right? I was like, oh, right. Here we go. So Ryan says Street Fighter 2 was awesome. I remember wasting quarters at the Wizards Arcade downtown. Dude, are you in town? You're in London here?
We had a Wizards at the mall.
Well, I would say before like the 90s, Josh. You know where Solids is downtown?
Yeah, well, Aces was there.
Solids was Wizard 2.
Okay.
Beside Heroes was Wizards. And then Ace was across from Solids.
Right.
And that was Solid Golds is the Gentleman's Club. So I hear. So I don't know. So I hear. And that's where Ace was. And Ace was like the giant one where you'd find the afterburner with the chair and all that stuff, right? All that stuff.
Nice, large, open layout. I enjoyed it very much.
Ryan's in London too. There you go. That's where Josh and I are. Yeah, cool. Very cool.
Admiral's Cup.
Oh, Sakura, you know Admiral's Cup. What was that? Was that the arcade or was that the name of the golf course?
I think that was the miniature putt inside the mall.
Yeah.
But the Wizards was there during that time, if I recall correctly.
Okay, so what was the one in White Oaks Mall then?
See, that's across the town for me. I never got out there too often.
There you go. Josh knows my fiance.
Okay, Rusty, yeah.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Small world, man.
I mentioned to Rusty, she was streaming last night. Come check out the show, Jay's show. I'm going to be co-hosting.
Well, cool, Ryan. That's awesome. It's cool you're in London, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I made it more to Westmount than I did White Oaks. Masonville and Westmount Mall were the two malls that I frequented the most.
Yeah, we're casually just going through these pages, guys. If there's anything you want to talk about that's standing out, these are more just overviews of certain games, but just call it out, okay? Yeah, for me, dude, because I'm in the West End. White Oaks was like, God, I was 2 buses to take, man. You know how terrifying that was for me back in the day? Oh my God, you got to transfer buses to get there. But my girlfriend lived in White Oaks. So I would take like the 2 buses to go there. And there was an arcade in White Oaks Mall there. So I was familiar with that end of town. But yeah, I would do Masonville more for sure.
Yeah.
Torshi says Street Fighter Alpha or bust. Well, you know why Street Fighter Alpha is awesome, Torshi? Because of Charlie, baby. Gotta have Charlie. It's my favorite. Page 156. Does anybody out there really like the Addams Family? You guys can be honest with me.
The games were crap.
Just like the IP in general. Is there really any Addams Family fans?
Yeah, the movies were great. Christopher Lloyd as
oh yeah, Fester, right?
Yeah, Uncle Fester. And Gomez, who played in the Street Fighter movie. Raul Julian or
Raul
something.
Julia, yeah.
Julia.
Yeah, I think his last movie was Street Fighter.
Yep.
'Cause he was
and
sick during that, I
He
remember.
got
Yeah.
ill. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? The movies, they're actually pretty funny and wholesome. I enjoy the movies. And you know what? There was a cartoon that I think I watched maybe a bit of.
Interesting. Just curious if anybody actually likes. I know that there's like a new Adams Family coming out, or like the Wednesday Adam that's all taken off, and it seems to be going through different generations, which I think is cool. If people like it, go for it.
I haven't checked out any of the newer stuff, but
I can't remember her name who plays Wednesday. I just know she's in that movie X that I keep talking about because I love that trilogy. It's like a horror trilogy. Anyway, we're on to Contra Force, which is on page 162.
Yep.
Contra Force is an obscure game, and back in the day, it was one I never even knew existed. Actually, until we shot Nintendo Quest in 2013, I never knew of this game. But this isn't your typical Contra. It's a Contra where you choose one of 4 characters. It's brutally hard. But
right.
this game is quite valuable and has some of the coolest artwork on the cover. Matt, I'm talking about the actress who plays the new Wednesday. She's in that movie X as well. But I see her everywhere now. She's like blown up, right? I can't remember her name. But there you go. Thanks, Ryan. Jenna Ortega. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's
Jenna
in
Ortega.
the
There you
new
go.
Beetlejuice, no?
Christina Ricci. Yeah. No, I meant Jenna Ortega. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Jenna Ortega. Is she not in the new Beetlejuice movie?
Is she? I don't know.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't know. She's doing quite well. She's in everything, it seems. That's awesome. Christina Ricci. Oh, yeah. So Christina Ricci was Wednesday in the Raul Julia one.
Right, the
Right.
original.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Josh, you ever played Contra Force?
No. This is a NES game that has eluded me, no. But it looks fun. It
Look
also
at
looks difficult.
I was just gonna say, look at the 4. These are the 4 characters you can play: Burns, Smith, Iron, and Beans. We're on page 163.
Okay.
Beans, Iron, Smith, and Burns. I love it. Here we go. Time to Wake Up says Contra Force was not a Contra game. It was originally made as a different game. Wow. I didn't know that. So we kind of got it like a Mario 2 situation going here. Interesting.
Sounds like it, yeah.
That's awesome. That's probably why it wasn't numbered. Cool. Thanks for that info. Jenna Ortega is in the new Beetlejuice. All right. Fair.
Yeah, I thought so.
Fair. Oh, here you go. Whoever that was who wrote in for Treasure Master level 4 and 5. Here you go. We're on page 166. And here's your EGM guide to level 4, the Fantasy Forest, and level 5 inside your NES. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Treasure Master. Gemfire. I remember that was a pretty popular game back in the day. There you go. 169. There is your Adams Family. Yeah, so Raul Julia. Christopher Lloyd. Pugsley looks familiar too, that actor. I don't know who that kid is. Interesting. Yeah, I've never seen this movie.
Oh, it's good. I think there's like 3 of them.
With this cast?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Or 2.
Buddy,
more than one Adams Family movie.
You might have to get that on laser.
You might want to check out a picture on 167.
67. Oh, there's Dark Vader himself. The picture is 10 times cooler than the game is for sure.
Yeah.
Where are we?
But no, those movies, the game sucked. I recall this game, and it's not good. But this cast is a good cast, and I think they did at least. I'm like 99% sure there's more than one movie with pretty much this whole cast.
Okay, so Chat and Josh, you guys can make fun of me. I'm going to take a stab in the dark at Morticia's actress name. Okay, for some reason in my mind, I'm getting Angelica Houston. Is that right?
I honestly haven't a clue.
Is anybody, am I right or wrong? Could somebody in the chat let me know?
I just know the two guys, Lloyd and Raul.
Raul Julia. Well, and Christina Ricci is Wednesday.
Right. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Is it? Am I right? Oh my God, I'm right.
Was she in the movie Casper or no? Or was that somebody else? Or is that the girl from Beetlejuice? I can't remember.
Angelica Houston to me looks like Meryl Streep. And I think that's where the confusion
does.
is,
She
right?
does, I
It's like
see
that
it.
same kind of old school Hollywood kind of look, right? Yeah. Anyway, moving on here. We're on page 173. Check out this ad, Josh.
Oh, I'm there.
Lock and load.
The rock and roll.
It's
Rolling
time
Thunder
to wake
2.
up, says the Super Nintendo Adams Family was definitely a weekend rental for me. It was okay for a rental. I remember playing that actually. Yep. I do. Oh, here's a piece of crap here for you on 175. Look at this thing. The best new peripheral of the year by Electronic Gaming Monthly in December 1991. I don't remember them saying that. Look at this thing. The Game Action Replay Video Game Enhancer, aka bootleg cheater liar device. Can't beat Super Mario? Well, hold your hand, little baby boy. Forget it. No one needs this crap. Beat it old school style, like Castlevania. Pull your hair out for 3 days straight.
And it was available in Electronic Boutique as well as Toys R Us. Selected.
Yes. Christina Ricci was in Casper. Josh, there you go.
Ah, see?
There you go. She was everywhere. Absolutely. You can become a video game VIP. We're on 181. We're getting to the end here. Okay, this one's not as thick. Of course, we're done with Christmas now. I think we're into February.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little lighter. Someone in the chat was talking about Faceball yesterday. It was Josh.
Me, yeah.
You were talking about Faceball on 185. Yeah, you said that.
I was watching a YouTuber's video, and they attended a con in Seattle recently, so probably within the past month or so. And they had 16 consoles or whatnot, computers, forget what it was, all hooked up.
Game Boys.
Game Boys, yeah, Game Boy. And they had a tournament.
Yeah, and I was saying that's so cool, man. Like playing on the original hardware. I mean, anyone could emulate this, but it's not the same, right? As playing it on especially on a Game Boy, to have whatever 8 or 16 of them daisy chained together.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool. And this was a very early first-person game.
Yeah,
and to be able to run this on a Game Boy is pretty impressive.
I know it's hard for the viewers to see, but in the top right-hand corner, it says in the green there, first person perspective. Very much reminds me of the old Windows screensaver of like the maze or whatever.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, the old screensavers. I remember that. Remember the paperclip guy who would like teach you how to use the new version of Windows? Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Those were the days, man. Those were the days. Not like now where we just know everything. That's no fun. Win big with EGM. We always win big every Sunday. Okay, on page 195, we have Zelda 3. And I wish I said this last week, but I wish they kept the 3 in there. Like Legend of Zelda 3, A Link to the Past would be so cool.
Well, apparently the writers didn't know where they were going to go. And they, the whole time log of Zelda, like none of it really quite makes sense, right?
Yeah. Our poll, wow, I don't even know why I put Street Fighter 2 in there. I said, which is best, Street Fighter 2, 3, 4, or 6? 0 for 3 and 0 for 4. And 8%. I shouldn't have put 2 in there. I did the Back to the Future thing again.
Right. I missed that poll, but I just took a guess, a wild stab.
Yeah, well, and that Street Fighter 2 killed it. You obviously have played A Link to the Past before.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe not.
I,
Yeah.
I'm not huge on Zelda. Crucify me, I know, but yeah.
No, it's not. It's not about that. I would agree. I just played the new Zelda. I can't remember what it's called. It's a top-down view one.
Tears of the
No, not Tears. It's the new one.
after Breath of the Wild or whatever.
What's it called, chat? The new Zelda that just came out. God. Something. Anyway, you're Zelda, but it's a top-down view like this. And I much prefer the 3D Zelda, the open world like Ocarina and like Breath of the Wild. I prefer that so much more than this top-down view.
See, my cousin,
Echoes of Wisdom. That's it. Sorry.
my cousin's hardcore into Zelda, and he's the opposite of you. He likes the top kind of. He doesn't like the open world kind of thing.
Yeah. So I played it and it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good game, but yeah. No, not everybody likes this style. In fact, I prefer like Zelda 2 over the first Zelda, which I know most people make fun of me for, but I don't know. I like it. This is a great game. There's no doubts. We streamed this for our 5K. There's no doubts. Echoes of Wisdom. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, this is a fantastic game. This is a classic game. This is the game that immortalized Link and The Legend of Zelda as one of Nintendo's staples for sure. Excuse me. So many great dungeons, and then we had the 3 palaces in the light world, and then you have 6 dungeons in the dark world. You just got a ton of content here.
It's funny. The one ad literally has Link there. It's Zelda 3, A Link to the Past, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wish they'd kept the 3. It would have been sweet. Would have been super sweet.
But as Matt said it there in the chat, right? Keeping the 3 in the world there would, yeah.
Yeah, you can read it. Go ahead.
Well, it's just, keeping the 3 in there would also make people think that this would be a sequel to either the original or Link's Adventure, which it really isn't. Because, yeah, they're all over the place with the timeline, right? Because I don't even think they knew what they were going to do, right? They probably still don't know what they're going to do.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, Zelda 1 was a certain style. Then Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link was... The map screen was the 3/4 top down, but the action was side scroller. So if you think the third one, Miyamoto's like, okay, well, I'm guessing that we're going to go with the top down, and I think that was ultimately the right move. As much as I like the 2D side scroller one, most people didn't. I loved it though. It's one of the hardest games out there. Yeah, It's Time to Wake Up says Zelda 2 is underrated and hated for no reason. If it would have been called anything else, it would have been considered a hidden gem. Yeah, and I liked it simply because it's the only Zelda game where you level Link. You can actually construct him how you want.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Oh, here you go, buddy. Page 210.
Yep. Blaster Master Boy. Oh, wait. We were... Next page. Lemmings. So they had this. They had this in the last mag, right? As an ad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's very original. Like, I know this is a game you really like. And I think Will was saying they kind of did it a little bit better with Mario versus Donkey Kong, where Mario had the army of toy Marios. And it was along the same lines. You just had to lead them, I think, to Donkey Kong or away from Donkey Kong. I can't remember. It was the same idea.
Right.
Obviously, this was first.
I saw a newer game on Steam, so on the PC, that was like a 3D kind of first-person version of almost like Lemmings, or like the concept of Lemmings.
Very cool. And we are at the end of the issue. Shout out to Retro Mags. There is a link in the description of all our EGMs where you can click and support those guys, but they archive everything. As you can see, all the video game history that they archive, and it's such an important job. And thankfully, they have done that. So thanks to Retro Mags once again for doing that. There you go.
That was cool.
we are at the end of another EGM. What do you guys think? What's Oliver saying? My brother hates the game over screen in Zelda 2. Oh, the map screen? When you die, the wizard Ganon appears on the screen and laughs. He said, yeah. Because he needs, like, if you read the instruction book, it says, like, Ganon needs the blood of Link to return. It's very dark. Yeah. Ghetto says, love the old ads. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to give, we're going to make Josh big here.
That's what she said.
Oh. Come on. And we're going to give him a chance to tell you guys where exactly you can find him, as he's got some content. So here is Josh.
So I make YouTube videos as well as live stream. And the best places to find me are YouTube and Twitch. And because I go by JP, as you guys can see there in the bottom corner or whatever way that is. But that tag has been taken well before I ever got around to it. So all my stuff can be found at Josh JP Pepper. And I put that in the chat there like that. So just YouTube, Josh JP Pepper, Twitch, Josh JP Pepper.
Yeah, so give him a sub on YouTube, guys. Give him a follow on Twitch. And if you forget, the links to both his channels are in the description of this video again.
Awesome.
So that is it for another week. We are out of here. I'm going to be in the office finishing up the next video that hopefully will be out this week. But I want to thank you guys for an awesome weekend. Yesterday was great. So again, thank you all for getting us to over 20,000 subs on YouTube. Man, I'm like blown away. But thank you guys so much. My streaming schedule will be up as of Monday. I want to thank my good pal Josh. We'll be seeing him again for sure, 100%. And Josh, I will say goodbye to you now, my friend, and goodbye to everyone in the chat. You guys have yourself a good weekend and happy Thanksgiving in Canada.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right.
Later.
Cheers, my friends. Take care.